All right, we're now live.
Yeah, it's working.
Is it loading or is it up?
Yeah, it's
Recording.
All right, here comes long snapper.
You like the square ice cubes?
That was back when you didn't have a long snapper on scholarship.
Oh, what do we got?
The volume here, Bill?
I think that guy led the country in return yards, punt return.
This guy?
I don't be there.
Oh,
Ron
Smith.
75, making plays downfield, baby.
All right, everybody, I do apologize. We had minor technical difficulties. I would like to welcome everybody on Facebook Live. This is NBC Sports Network from the vault, replaying the 1990 Orange Bowl and your all-access pass to the Notre Dame Player Watch Party. Submit your questions and we'll try to get to as many as we can. This watch party will be posted on my YouTube page tomorrow at Chris Zorich 50. Please subscribe to be notified when this goes up. And a special thanks, of course, to NBC Sports, the Orange Bowl, and of course, Notre Dame. Well, now let me introduce you to the players we have tonight. We have Mike Brennan, who is from Baltimore, Maryland, was offensive lineman. We have Tim Grunhart, offensive lineman from Chicago, Illinois. We have Tim Ryan, offensive lineman from Kansas City. Ryan West, tight end from New Orleans, Louisiana. Daryl Wadecki, offensive line, Chagrin Falls, Ohio. DeJuan Francisco, defensive back, Cincinnati, Ohio. Todd Light, defensive back, Flint, Michigan. And Pat Terrell, defensive back from St. Petersburg, Florida. Mike Brennan, first up with you. What do you remember about this game, the 1990 Orange Bowl?
Well, I'll tell you right now, it was hot as bejesus. And then I would say probably the most memorable thing is the fourth quarter drive. 17 plays, 82 yards, 9+ minutes to shut the game down. That was a long one. That I'll never forget.
Tim, how about you? What's your most memorable moment about this game?
Well, I got to go with Mike. That last drive was the last drive of our college football career, and it couldn't have come at a better time. It was 17 plays, I believe. Either 16 or all 17 were run plays, and we just ate the clock up. And if you watch the game, you'll see Coach McCarthy going to his defensive coordinator and shaking him and saying, "Why can't we stop the run?" And as an offensive lineman, that's what you love to do.
Tim, what about you? What's your most memorable moment about this game?
The bus ride home.
And what do you mean?
Because we lost to Miami earlier, and we had that bus ride home, and it just it stuck with me. And we got on that bus, and we won and got the hell out of Miami.
Go to South Bend.
Even though we won?
We went over to we took that bridge over to what's it?
Key Biscayne.
Key Biscayne, yeah. Hung out over there.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
All right.
Rob, how about you? What's your most memorable moment?
Who's that?
What's your most memorable moment, Rod?
My most memorable moment has to be that drive because it was pure physicality. But the other, since that was already mentioned, I remember being in pain with the knee injury for the entirety of the game, and it was the last time I wore the Notre Dame helmet on a football field. It was the last time I played football, and so for me, I am literally reliving every moment. I have not seen a replay of the game until right now, and
Really?
so this is pretty neat. This is pretty neat. Not until right now. First time since January 1, 1990, I've watched this game.
Hey, Chris, I hate to break in. Chris,
Aching a little bit or what?
What's that?
Is the knee aching a little bit or what?
Look, Snap, Crackle, and Pop is not just Rice Krispies, man.
concussion protocol, Jim Russ style, right here.
That's right.
All right, Daryl, how about you, man?
Are you okay? Yes, get back in there.
Daryl, how about you? What do you remember?
Yeah,
Yeah, I have a different memory. Yeah, I was recovering from my last surgery, so I wasn't even here. But I just remember how good our team was versus the year before, and we won a national title the year before. And this team was I thought heads and shoulders above that other team. We were good.
Dewan, how about you? What's your fondest memory about the 1990 Orange Bowl?
Well, I got turf toe early in the game, so I had to go get shot up early in the game. And I knew, like Rod said, you injured, you got to play. So I knew that was going to be my last game.
Shot up? What do you mean shot up?
He did that?
Friday Night Lights.
Little Novocaine. Little Novocaine in the big cup.
Yes,
Second half, when we had that goal line stance, because prior to that, they were in the red zone like twice, and we stopped them the first time. And then it was like midway through the second half, and they were inside the 5-yard line. And the enemy was going up top, and that was a first stop. And then next 3 downs, they missed a field goal. So probably that was also a game changer because they were and we stopped them twice. So that was probably one of the most memorable moments. They had a lot of talent on that team too, with the receivers, the running back, of course, the quarterback, because he finished behind Tony in the Heisman, the quarterback that is. So they had a lot of talent.
I didn't even remember that. I didn't realize he was that good.
Yeah. And he was young too. And he was shifty. And Bieniemy, the following year, Bieniemy finished behind Rocket, I think 3rd in the Heisman. So they had some talent as well, up and coming.
All right, T-Light, what about you, man? What do you remember about this game?
For me, it was just the defensive performance that we had. I mean, we knew coming into this game, this was the number 1 ranked team in the country. They were undefeated. They were a juggernaut in terms of moving the ball through the pass game and also primarily through the run. But, we were outstanding up front, obviously led by Chris Zorich, yourself, Ned Bolkar, who led the team in tackles 2 out of the last 3 years. I mean, this guy was a stud. Pat Terrell, with his finesse at the free safety position, sideline to sideline, rangy, making plays. And I just remember that swarming effort that we put on and how physical that we were in making sure that they felt us in our preparation in this game.
Yeah.
So here's the scary thing. We talk about being physical. Like, I couldn't imagine going out there playing now, right? But the fact that we thought we were more physical than anybody else, I thought was great. So kind of to your point, Todd.
T-Light sound like a head coach.
True.
Sounds like a recruit.
All right, Pat, I'm saving the best for last. Pat Terrell, what do you remember about this game?
Oh, wow. Chris,
Here we go. Take off the glasses. Watch out.
I got 2 memories. My first memory was when we came out after halftime. Man, that field smelled like a zoo. You guys remember that buffalo crap all over the place? So I hate that that's a memory, but it sticks with me. And then, like Eli said, just being out there with all my boys on defense, oh my gosh. It just felt good. The night was electric. It was fun making plays for each other. But this was after the game. My biggest memory was, hanging out with DJ and Todd, really thinking and partying all night, thinking we just won the national championship.
Yep.
And wake up and read the paper.
We did.
To see how many Notre Dame haters are out there. Made me want to throw up, man.
Yeah,
All right, now hold up now.
That's real.
Hold up, Pat. Now, did you honestly think that we had a chance to win?
Yes.
Because of what? Tell me, please. Why?
Because we beat the number 1 team.
We beat the number 1 team. We
In the
beat the
biggest
number
bowl
1
game.
team.
All right. Y'all
And it was
sound
back-
like
it was
little
back-to-back
football, which is
championship.
great. So
Well,
even though we got beat by the team that was ranked number 1 after this game, that doesn't matter.
1993.
Why did they play
Case closed.
Why
That's
did they
right,
play the number 1,
1993. Reversal.
the number 1 seed?
Yeah, the rules kept changing every time we get there to win. They changed the rules.
And uniquely enough, I believe, was it Florida State or Miami, they also played in the Kickoff Classic that year. So their record was the same as ours, 12-1, I believe. And they gave it to
Who
them.
did Miami lose to?
Michigan. The week before.
Oh, that's right.
So Chris,
They also put-
so after that
You did
game, you
homework,
didn't think they won the national championship? What'd you do? Just go to bed?
Nah, man, I'm just saying, man, we lost,
Hey,
man.
at least me and DJ had 12 good hours. We the champs, baby.
No question.
Right, we're going to Key West.
Hey man, I remember going to the afterwards going to the Hula Bowl, and I was on the plane and thought for sure we were going to win a national championship. And you open up the paper in the USA Today, it was like disappointing.
Oh, well, I remember. Yeah, DJ, I remember I had to read that to you.
Hey, DJ,
Oh, Pat, look at that, Pat. You just recovered a fumble, man.
What?
PT out there making plays.
Oh, I didn't even see it.
That's my free safety.
I missed it, man. I gotta back it up.
Yeah, that was an amazing. I mean,
Rewind.
He broke through,
Here it is.
got to the second level, and realized that nobody had hit him. And it's a surprise.
Go, Pat. Like, no.
Oh, Chris,
There you
you
go.
don't want to
He
look
took
at that
there you go,
film.
15. Way to make a play.
Hey man,
Yeah, he took me out my shoes, man.
And you wonder why you smell like
they were
you
shifty.
do, man.
Oh, don't show this again. See, I was turning them in to Todd and DJ. I was turning them in.
DJ.
Yeah,
And those
vice
guys,
tackle
those small
technique,
running
right?
backs, they get behind those big boys, and they can easily get lost. So you couldn't get caught up in the jump, man.
Thank God for commercials.
All right, so right, exactly. You hear me, right? So, I mean, I'm going to go around, and only because Notre Dame is such a special place, right? So, give me, I mean, Mike, I'm going to start with you again. Tell me what one of your most memorable moments on campus at Notre Dame that had nothing to do with athletics.
Nothing to do with athletics.
Megan Erkins.
Oh, geez.
Should I talk about my first year roommate?
Oh,
Wow.
Real
All
TV.
right, Brennan first. We'll get to you in a second. Go ahead, Mike.
oh boy, I'm gonna keep it clean.
Please do.
Probably
The family show.
the snow's falling. You're walking across campus, seeing the Golden Dome and the stadium. At the same time, it's just kind of surreal, to be frank. I mean, that's what it's all about to me.
All right. Daryl, what about you? What was your non-athletic moment at Notre Dame? Your favorite?
I don't know about favorite, but the thing that sticks in my mind is going to mass on Sunday night at midnight in the dorms with everybody showing up in, pajamas and stuff, and we'd be coming there, and it was just a very different atmosphere. And to me, that was pretty cool.
What dorm are you in?
Alumni.
Okay. Was there anybody else here in alumni?
Thank you, sweetie.
I didn't see him.
Rod, how about you? What's your memorable non-athletic moment?
Non-athletic, I would have to say I was in Keenan Hall all 4 years. A couple of those years, AJ Anthony Johnson was my roommate, but the most non-football thing you could do at Keenan Hall was be part of the Keenan Review.
Okay.
If any of you remember, every year in the dead of winter, snow's 1.5 feet on the ground, we put on this, I don't know what you'd call it, but a variety show for campus. And everybody in the dorm participated in some way, shape, or form, but it was always the connection that I had with the students, because it had nothing to do with football. But the Keenan Review has to rank pretty high up there, aside from just hanging out with my classmates. But special.
All 4 years?
Yep, all 4.
You did?
Game's on.
Okay. Sorry, Rob. All right, so of course we're on defense again, which is obviously pretty good. So,
Yay.
I don't even remember that dude. Do y'all?
Yeah, good player.
Really? I don't even remember him. All I remember is the enemy.
No, they had a couple guys at tailback that could get it done.
Yeah. It was a
There you
Flanagan.
Ran the option offense with Hagan at quarterback, Bieniemy, Flanagan. They were tough.
Flanagan.
Boom.
PT, you tried to take the quarterback's head off just then.
I know.
I love the aggressiveness. You know what I mean? That's my free safety.
All right, so here's one of my memorable experiences, and it has to do with Pat.
Uh-oh.
You know, when I first started to play with him, he'd make a play, and you know, I'm yelling at people, pushing people, and this dude is like, "Hey, Joker, good job." I was like, "What, Joker?" He was like, "Oh, man, a Joker." Then he started pointing to the guys, like, "Hey, Joker." I was like, "What the hell is Joker?" Swearing, I'm MFing people, I'm trying to bite people and stuff. I'm like, "Oh man, Joker, what you doing?" So I know there's a couple times Pat and I had a little conversation about that word Joker.
If you don't cuss that dude out, man.
I mean, Dewan, Todd, you guys remember that?
You know what? I don't remember that. You know what I remember about? You know what I remember about Pat? Pat is a nice guy, right? Oh, look at that.
Oh,
That in 30 years, Todd.
You know what the beautiful thing about that play was? Cover 3, 4-yard tackle for a loss. Let's go.
Nice.
Let's go. And you know what? If you watch the tape closely, they don't run to that side very much anymore the rest of the game. Just for the record. You know what I mean? The big shoulder pads. There were no parts of them big shoulder pads, man.
Those are lineman pads, man. I think you took my pad.
Like Grunhard.
Look at that.
yeah, that was the old neck roll. We had the old neck roll. Chris, you had a neck roll, didn't you?
Man, I needed everything I could to be bigger, man. Are you kidding me?
Except for your shirt.
Wow. DJ, Dewan, what was your most memorable non-athletic moment at Notre Dame?
Man, probably being in the dorm with Corny. I lived in Kavanaugh with Corny, South Hall, and Mark Green.
Uh-huh.
I thought spades was a class, man. So we played spades, cards, late night card games. Yeah, I was taking a independent study class, you know, with spades. So just playing cards with the fellas, hanging out in the dorms because we were real close with a lot of the guys that weren't, you know, athletes. That's one thing about Notre Dame is not having an athletic dorm. So you really got to be close with the whole campus and get a feel for campus life outside of football. So it was probably that part. I had some cool team dorm mates I still keep in touch with.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
All right, Pat, how about you? What's your non-athletic most memorable moment at Notre Dame?
Oh, wow.
Here we go.
Here we go.
It has to involve Braxton Banks, man.
Yeah, I miss my brother, boy.
Yeah.
Shy B.
Yep. You know what? Probably one of my favorite memories is it's kind of like a reoccurring memory is just being out in practice late in the season. We knew we were good, and just being in the secondary and practice with Todd and DJ, and we'd be so bored shutting down our offense. Just playing. Then Todd would look at me and we both point to the dome and say, "Give it up for the dome." Remember that?
Absolutely.
You gotta give it up for the dome.
Hey, mental and physical toughness at all times.
Or second good practice, or it was non-athletic. I'm sorry, Chris, but I mean it was in practice. It's kind of funny since Rick Waters is not on this thread.
Wow.
The time when we all had to do up downs and Lou made him stand in the circle in the middle and not participate.
Not participate.
You guys remember that?
I do. Ooh, nice tackle, Pat.
Oh,
You know I got to pump on my free safety every chance I get, and my strong safety.
Can you guys get him off the field, please? My God.
Oh, it's coming.
Hey, it was ugly.
You guys were on the field on long.
We had to wait for you to get off the oxygen, man. Come on.
yeah, get on the skates, buddy. Get on.
Oh, go on.
Oh,
Come on.
Who played pass coverage back
He
then?
was there.
Superman.
Come on,
DJ, if you'd have done that when I was coaching, I'd have pulled you all to the sideline. You had to sit a series out. You can't miss tackles like that nowadays, man. The guys are too fast.
You haven't finished number 2 in the country yet.
DJ, it's hard to watch.
Yep.
DJ, it's hard to watch a game with Todd now. He's a coach. Critiquing everything, man. I'm nervous.
They know everything.
All right, Tim, talk to us about one of your most memorable non-athletic moments.
I don't know if it's non-athletic. My parents had more fun than I had at Notre Dame. Watching all the parents interact and kind of that whole deal. I know the tailgating and all that kind of stuff. Certainly that's something I remember. Actually, graduation, 3 of us, me, you, and Daryl sat next to each other.
I remember that.
The hat you wore.
Oh, yeah.
And then, do you remember when Father Jinky was doing the commencement speech and you know what I'm talking about?
I have a TV or something. There was a radio or something?
No, we were in the, weren't we in the ACC?
Yeah, we had to be.
Yeah, we were in the ACC. Yeah.
And Daryl did something and I think I missed the entire speech because I was laughing. So,
I don't remember, Daryl. Is it even appropriate for our Facebook Live audience?
No.
Okay,
It
there we
is
go.
not.
Enough said.
Hey, Rod West and I have had a different graduation experience we won't talk about, right? Rod?
No, we'll just say that our graduation speaker was Mr. William Cosby.
Oh, here we go.
We'll leave it at that.
We'll leave it at that.
Well, yeah, there was something happened at that graduation. Maybe we can get back to that.
Oh my God.
Share with us kind of a memorable moment that might not have got to do with anything with athletics.
Talking to me, Chris?
Yes, sorry, Tim Grimmer.
You know what? I think really my freshman year, I never remember going with Rod and Dean over the BCAC dance.
Nice.
You remember that?
You have to
Yeah.
explain what that means.
I thought that was cool. It was the African-American dance. I was the only white dude there.
Nice.
Nice.
Hey,
And
now you know how we felt at your parties, Timmy.
although to be brutally honest with you, I danced better than half of those brothers. It's
Yes,
talking
you
about
did,
white
Timmy.
people
Yes, you did.
Black guys from Notre Dame dance is worse.
Yes, indeed.
But no, you know what? Thinking back to our buddy Dean Brown, I miss so much of him and I driving around in that Cadillac convertible all over campus and just hanging out and doing our thing. Boy, and you know, Rod, you and I and Dean, many times sitting in your room and listening to who was that one, Slick Rick?
Slick Rick, the rapper. That's it.
Oh, he remembers. That's
it.
nice.
I'm impressed, Gunny. I'm
Yeah,
impressed.
yeah.
The Dean Brown was my human beatbox.
Can you still lay down a beat for us?
I still have the lyrics, but Dean was the man with the beats, and man, I miss him. Just bringing his name up and watching Jeff Alm up there just bring back some memories, man. I miss him too.
Absolutely.
Way too many guys.
Before I get to Utah, let's talk about the guys we lost who were in this game.
Right.
And we got
Well, George Williams was the latest.
Yeah.
right, George.
Jeff Alm,
Demetrius
Demetrius
Over.
That's right, Demetrius.
Wow.
Bose,
Yeah.
Mirko Jurkovic,
Yeah,
Justin Hall,
Andre Jones.
yeah.
Mhm.
Who's the one?
Brown.
The Tampa Bay area. What was his name?
That was
Demetrius
That
DeBose.
was Demetrius.
Yeah. He was from San Diego, I think,
Oh,
Oh,
California.
okay.
Yeah.
Brown,
And then what about Braxton? Was he?
Braxton Banks.
Yeah, Braxton. Was Braxton in this one?
No, but he was still on scholarship.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's right. That's right.
Yeah. All gone too soon, man. All gone too soon, man. Miss those guys for
A lot
sure.
of us too, man.
Way
Bobby
too
This,
soon.
if this is the end of the half, this might be the best defensive stand I've seen in a long back in the day. Awesome. You guys-
Don McDonald,
Devo.
Patterson, New Jersey.
Yeah.
Noah,
That dude would cheap shot you in a second.
Yes, he would.
It's going to be exciting because actually we're going to have fun on the next segment.
Just because he kicked your butt, Grooney, during practice. Come on. Don't be upset.
Hey, Todd, you want to share with us your moment?
Yeah, absolutely. For me, it was the camaraderie that I felt once I got on campus. I never forget, I was a true freshman coming in from high school for summer school. I got to room in the same hall with Tim Grunhart, John Farrell. Tim and those guys didn't know me from Adam. They took me under their wing, put me in the car, drove me to Chicago, showed me a great time in the city, took me to their house. Their mom fed us all weekend. I mean, I couldn't stop eating. I never ate so much in my entire life. Here I'm my kid from Flint, Michigan. I weigh about 170 pounds, and I'm eating like 6 meals a day at this lady's house. I'm like, if you don't stop feeding me already. But, just making sure that, the brotherhood that we had just away from the football field was really, really special, and how the older guys were very adamant about, taking care of the younger guys and taking them under their wing and showing them the ropes. I thought that was really, really special and really, really unique to the University of Notre Dame.
And I think kind of to your point, Todd, I mean, you're talking about some great relationships, and you think about the fact that you had somebody like Tim Grunhart hanging out at the African American dance. I mean,
exactly.
I'm sure that happens, but those were the type of relationships.
Mike, Daryl, and I would have went if you invited me. I can dance, right? Brennan can dance. I see them. Thanks for the invite.
Next time, baby. We're all over it.
Turtle can DJ.
Yeah. Oh Lord!
Now you DJed a couple times.
Had the best house parties though for me, no question. Turtle had the best house party.
Somebody had a house. We're not gonna talk about what happened in the house, but somebody had a house. I think it was on Notre Dame Avenue or something like that. And I mean, it turned out to be like a lot of the players hung out there or something like that. Does anybody remember that? Maybe not. Huh?
Marty Lippincott.
Okay.
Morrison. Pete Graham.
Bud.
All the people that aren't here, right?
Yes.
How about Andy Heck?
Hey, I know this story is a year earlier.
Andy Heck was the nicest, most straight-laced guy, and he lived in that house. I don't know how he pulled it off.
Love Andy. Was he coach with the Kansas City Chiefs this year?
Yeah.
Good for him.
Yep.
Great. I saw him at the Super Bowl.
So great. He got a ring.
So happy.
Awesome.
Good for him.
That's great. Another Super Bowl ring for the University of Notre Dame. I love it.
That's right.
Chiefs.
Does anybody know how many we have?
Super Bowl rings?
Wow.
Oh, and let's just say from kind of
No,
this
Todd
era.
has one.
Todd.
Lindsey Knapp has one.
Knapp.
Nice.
After Coach Holt, when Coach Holtz was there, big offensive lineman in California on TV.
Aaron Taylor.
Yep, Aaron Taylor.
Taylor.
Who else?
Gino's got one.
Jerome Bettis, Ricky Waters.
Yeah. 6, 7.
Yeah.
Mickey, a couple. They got a couple. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So we're really well represented. That's good.
Here we go, boys. Well, offense.
Is that the second half?
Gene McGuire's got one too, doesn't he?
First half.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
You know what I loved about Coach Holtz? The fact that we used to run the other team's offensive plays right back at them.
Yeah.
That was always one of my favorite things that he did.
And they work better.
Right? I thought that was genius.
We had this the best game we had. We killed it.
How about putting Rocket at tailback into this year, into the next year? Unbelievable.
Well, I'm telling you what, I think the MVP of the national championship season was oh my God, I can't even remember. Who was the running back on the prep squad? What's his name?
Oh, Rusty Setzer.
No, not Rusty.
No?
Oh, jeez.
Rusty Setzer, no?
No, he's the walk-on. Great player. Great.
Really?
Pat Eilers?
The fact that we're going to have receivers on next, but how about the fact that our receivers had to get in the 3-point stands?
I mean, who was the
That
receiver
sucks,
coach?
man. How do you get off a bumper run, Todd, in a 3-point stance?
It's physically impossible. Who was the receivers coach?
Dude, I can't even know name as a receiver, man. All my idols are Michael Irving. Hey, you don't picture yourself in a 3-point stand.
But you couldn't catch, as Lou told you. Thank God.
That was just to put you in a better position to block downfield. That's all.
A 3-point stance against a bump and run.
Pat, I still think that story you told about playing wide receiver and Coach Holtz and throwing you the ball and he gets all mad at Tony. He's yelling at Tony. He goes, "I'm not mad at Pat. I'm mad at you for throwing it to Pat."
Yeah.
You gotta tell
You
that
hand
story.
them the ball.
Mark
Don't
time.
ever
Mark
give it to Pat
time,
Terrell.
Pat, you got to tell that story.
Smarter than that. Don't throw the ball to Pat Terrell.
Pat, give us a mini
Take
version.
a sack.
Give us a mini version of their story, Pat.
He said, "I don't care if Pat Terrell is so open, you can walk up and hand him the football. Take the sack."
Take the sack.
Oh, that's brilliant.
And he became
All
a
right, so-
second-round draft pick, 10 years in the NFL.
If somebody wants to answer this question, we got a question from the folks on Facebook Live from George B. Actually, this is for Pat. Pat, if there's one play you wish you could have back, which would it be?
Oh, here he goes.
Oh, wow.
Third and 44.
Yeah,
Randall Hill.
Hint.
It was 3rd and 42. Honest. But to my safety's defense, let me tell you something. To my safety's defense, we were in the wrong defense.
Hey, 29 was involved in that too.
We called the wrong defense. And when that play call came in, I remember thinking to myself, this is shite. We do not need to be in the
time out,
coverage.
time out. We got to get a little context. Get a little context. The play we're talking about is 4th and like 500.
Third. Third and 42.
Sorry, third. 3rd and 500.
I'm glad you remember that down the distance, Rod. Yeah.
That's where he's at now.
Well, look. Hey, Coach Light.
Sir.
A free safety in cover 2 when you got the tight end pushing up the hash and the receiver, you would like a little help from 29 to sink back so he puts some air on the ball.
No question. It was a bad cover. It was a bad call. Bad call.
The sun was in my eyes.
You have to give Miami some credit on that particular play. You know what I mean? You do.
Oh, God.
Great quarterback, great wide receiver, and they just made the play. You know, but that was a tough one.
When
That's
we
like
made
a
the
question. I don't know
call,
his name and his address.
we all knew it was the wrong call.
It was definitely the wrong call.
There was
but
no
let me tell you
checking out calls back then in college football.
Right.
Yeah, that's fair. That's
Right.
totally
It
fair.
was. I did it once and Colts pulled me out of the game.
Hey, you would think the captain of the team who's playing on defense would have changed the thing up.
I thought about it,
Yeah.
but it was happening so fast. But I thought my defensive backs are so good that they can make the play.
Well, we get a little,
I didn't
pass
understand the
rush.
turf was loose down there and they slipped.
Yeah.
So Randall Hill, I love him, but he's not that good. You guys slipped.
All right, Grooney, we have another question. I want to direct it towards you from Jason W. Grunhart. How difficult was it to please Coach Holtz?
How difficult was it to what?
How difficult was it to please Coach Holtz?
Oh, impossible. He knew that I craved attention and craved kudos from him, and because he knew that I never got it. So I'll never forget. I don't know if you remember, Chris. It was really your fault. We all in full go Zorro, right? We're all beat up. It's halfway through the season, and Chris is going full speed in scout team, full speed. He's just making plays everywhere. So he goes, Tim Grunhart, get your ass out. I don't want to see you playing guard anymore. So I forget who it was. Maybe Winston Sanders. Somebody jumped in there and goes, no guard. Just go. We're playing with 10 guys. You ever block anybody anyways? And Chris, of course, instead of just being, shadowing, was going in and blowing Tony up in the back. Right? So I'm sitting back there, Pat. I had tears in my eyes, man. I'm sitting back there. I'm never going to play again. And so that was impossible to please Coach Schultz. It was impossible. So
I like it. I like it.
Thank you, Tucker.
Hi, what's up?
Hey,
What's up,
And,
man?
and I remember me and Smagala, we were in practice, and they went deep on us, and they caught a pass. And Lou said, he only has a 50-50 chance of catching the ball if nobody's guarding him. What the hell do I need y'all for?
That's tough right there, boy. That's tough love.
Hey, Mike, do you have a favorite Coach Schultz story?
I'll give you one. And it relates to this game. Gonna be the last game. I'm fifth year. I'm done. We just mentioned it. What we had the quick side and the strong side, and Timmy and I, left guard, wherever where we pulled, we always want to pull. Well, he called it the wrong way, so that meant Grooney and Dean Brown were pulling, and that never happened. So we're in practice. It's our last practice, and we get to go home for the break, and then we got to show up down in Miami. He threw me out of the practice. He said, "John, no, out of the building." He threw me out of Lofton. Kidding me? The parking lot in a snowstorm, and watched through the door. My last game, so I'm like, Timmy just said, "Oh, he's back there." I was like, what do I do? My parents, my whole family's coming out of the game. I got thrown out. And the manager comes out and says, "Mike, take it in." I went home. And then Jan called me and had me come back in to see Coach. Son, I can't have you talking back in front of the team. Yes, sir.
Nice. Stop.
Yeah.
this is the greatest stuff. Hey, how about it? How about that call from Jan? Coach Schultz wants to see you. How about that walk across campus? I don't know how many times. I've done it.
This is awesome. That's you, DJ.
4 times.
Hey, 1 out of 3 ain't bad, huh?
Boom.
Like that.
There it is.
This is a great piece of
Nice stick, DJ. DJ.
This is a great series, though, man.
man, that's,
Dude.
Boom.
Oh, no, he does not.
Devon. Todd Light.
My son is laughing that I'm jumping on the pile right now.
Back.
ALP, baby.
Hey, that's how we used to roll back in the day, man.
Hey, who was 30? Is that Demetrius? 31?
25.
Yeah.
Yep.
31. Oh, he might be in there for Donnie.
There you go, Todd, getting them hyped.
Hey, listen, this series right here, this goal line stand broke their will.
yeah.
Guaranteed.
That and the drive.
Offside.
Yes.
So this is the second time
Take it
they were
back.
at 5.
No, we're just about to go into halftime.
And one of the difference between the Miami game a month before this game is number 90. Jeff Alm played today.
Yeah, he did.
Did not
Yes,
play
he did.
against Miami. Not that would change it, but he's 6'7", 292, second round draft pick. Did not travel or play against Miami.
Right.
Big difference.
Do you
And
remember
was
why?
mean as,
I
and
don't
was
remember
mean as
why.
a snake on game day, too.
I do. Shh.
Oh, okay. Well, you can't bring it up in the night.
I mean, the man
No, he was sick.
Oh, man.
He was
Oh,
sick.
okay. All right. I mean,
Here we
this
go.
is awesome, man.
What happens here?
Oh, Stan Spagalo with a big hit.
Scott Kolakowski.
Oh,
Ready
here
to
you go.
pump.
In his face.
Struck it out nicely.
That's Chad Brown, first round draft pick.
Oh, for Seattle, right?
That's all up in his face.
Yep.
Oh, this is great, man.
Colo was fired up.
Why is he talking to Chad Brown? He's on defense on the sideline.
Yeah, you're right. I saw that.
Yeah, why is he talking to him? Who cares? Oh,
So here's the thing. When we watch this play, let's talk about this afterward.
Discipline.
It's a pretty disciplined team.
Yeah, that was beautiful by Stan, man.
Stayed at home, read the keys.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Stan was squared up.
Oh, yeah.
I knew
Oh,
we were right
good job, Stan. And Ridge.
The red.
99, let's go.
He had 3 big plays. That was the second big one right there. Boom.
Yeah, we'll take it, man. We'll take it.
Yeah.
No kidding. How about Stan squaring up on the play, man?
Yeah.
Ridge. Man.
Keeping it outside, arm and leg free.
Look at
You see
Dean.
Dean all fired up in the end zone?
Dean is ready, boy.
He's ready to go.
Deanie B.
So, okay, so here's my question. Do you think that was a called play?
Yes.
And
Yeah.
there was no one out there.
They were
There were
desperate.
like 3 people. There were 3.
It's just a naked boot.
They could move. They were desperate. They couldn't score. They were desperate.
Yeah, that receiver who was supposed to release and run like a 7 route got jammed up at the line.
And McCarty's
That
praying.
was a hell of a play.
But you know, the
I'm
one
working.
thing we had was great special teams, though.
We're the Catholic school. We pray. It works. They don't. It didn't work for them. Sorry,
Nice.
Why were we so good at special teams, DJ?
Because we let the stars, kept the
He
starters
beat
out there,
them all day.
baby.
T-Line.
I want to
Worked at it
apologize.
every day.
I think we need to apologize to the fans because that it's 0-0. This is a bowl game. I gotta imagine.
Against the #1 offense in the country.
In the country. But we had Ned
Those are defensive
Yeah.
tackles.
They're #1 offense. We're #4 in the country.
That's right.
No apologies.
We had 47.
Watch the second half, how we turn it on.
Oh
Yes,
no,
we
I
do.
remember the second half.
Stick around
That's
for the second half,
where
guys.
our offense actually picked up. 'Cause
Stick around for a
I don't
second
know how
half.
many
offense.
snaps we had in that first half, but it was not a lot at all. It felt
Yeah,
like
that
a
was-
whole bunch of 3 and outs.
Yeah, that wasn't the old let's cut there wasn't a lot of exciting players on offense, so we'll cut
No.
it out. There was no plays.
Nah.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't open it up offensively, because obviously Tony wasn't throwing the ball downfield. We got to get the spread it out a little bit, get the ball to these playmakers.
Why you do Tony like that, man? You can throw the ball down the field.
Listen, I love Tony.
On the next group.
In the late 80s and the early 90s, the best athlete on the planet was Michael Jordan. The second best athlete on the planet was Tony Rice.
That's the God's honest truth.
That's right.
That is the God's honest
I
truth.
like it.
Double thumbs
That's
up.
real talk.
Man, what?
All right,
Hey.
so hold on, Todd. Give us
Followed by Stan Smigala.
give, give us a good Tony Rice story.
Oh God.
Tony Rice. Okay, I'm a
Hey, you
freshman.
can tell. You can tell on air.
This is the first time I met Tony, and this is when I knew I was going to be his friend, and I was going to hang around this guy forever because this guy was a genius. So I'm walking to his dorm, they're like, "Yeah, let's go meet Tony. Let's go meet Tony." And I'm hearing all these great things about how cool Tony is and how much fun Tony likes to have. And I said, "Okay, let's go." So we go to his dorm. I believe he was in Dillon Hall, and I'll never forget. I hear this big ruckus going on. It sounds like a party, right? It's like 3:00 in the afternoon. I walk into his dorm. There's like 6 girls in bikinis. Tony's in his bathing suit, right? They're on their knees and they're playing volleyball in the room. And I remember thinking to myself, I'm gonna be friends with this guy forever. My best friend.
This guy.
Matter of fact, I'm gonna try to figure out how to be his roommate.
Why didn't we get the invite? I was there 5 years, right, Brandon? 5 years. Never saw a bikini volleyball contest ever.
Yeah, you missed it. You missed it. Because I only went to Dillon like twice.
We had plenty of fun, but I didn't see that.
Hey, Rod, do you have a Tony Rice story?
I got plenty, but you remember Tony was Tony came in at the first year. What was it called? It was Prop 48.
Dang.
And I was there for a program for incoming freshmen, and Tony had to be there because of Prop 48. And I got to tell you, with all of the stigma around Prop 48, this Tony Rice guy who, was going to be my classmate, this was before we all reported for fall camp. This was summer school in the summer of '86. I'm watching this young guy who had all of the stigma of Prop 48 was working his tail off in class to prepare himself to compete with the rest of the guys in the fall. and I didn't know where Woodruff, South Carolina was, but I knew it was a small town, and the people from Woodruff talked funny as far as I was concerned. but Tony earned my respect from day one because I saw him working his tail off academically to make sure that he represented when classes started. And I was not surprised at all to see him graduate with the class. It might have been early. I know that last semester he was pretty much done, but Tony worked his butt off,
Right.
aside from his athletic gifts. And I always respected him for that.
Although in the
Shirt off his back.
hey, Timmy Ryan, you could not understand him one time in the huddle. He'd be calling those plays so fast, he'd have that accent. Half the time I'm like, what's the play, Dean? He goes, don't you speak Tony? Tony the best. I don't know what the play is either. So he said, just block the guy in front of you.
Hey, Tim, do you have a Tony Rice? Tim Ryan, do you have a Tony?
There it is, downfield.
That play right there is my favorite verse. Now, Tony, and everybody said it, but he was so competitive, but he was not he loved being competitive. And so Greeny was saying in the huddle and such, whenever it was tight, I mean, he had a smile on his face and it was, relaxed and, just go out and perform. And, I don't really remember being in a huddle quite like that, when you've got so much pressure or you need to get something done. And he never cracked. We just had total confidence in him. And that whole backfield made us look really good. So
Yeah.
DJ, how about you? You got a Tony Rice story for us? Dewan?
My fifth year, Tony Rice and Todd Light, we lived off campus. And
I finally made it to be his roommate. Let's go. It only took me 4 years, but I did it, baby. Woo!
Say, DJ was 32 when he graduated. 32.
But Tony would give me the shirt off his back, man. I remember he came back from the Heisman ceremony. He had a bunch of Heisman stuff, and he just gave it out. One time he let me use his car to go get something to eat, and I didn't know how to drive a stick. But
Neither did he.
What's that?
Neither did he.
But Tony was just a very generous guy, man. He never passed up someone who was asking for an autograph. I mean, we were in a bookstore one time getting our books, and he was always bombarded with autograph seekers, man. He always took the time to give everybody a special attention. So he's just a heck of a nice guy. The most small town, Woodruff,
South Carolina.
Tim, Ryan, you wouldn't know what that's like, autographs, being bombarded now.
Hey, Daryl, you got a Tony Rice story for us?
Sorry.
Yeah, I got two.
I said Daryl, not Pat.
They rhyme.
Go ahead, Pat. No, go ahead, Pat.
Not Pat Terrell.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead, PT. You're up. Go ahead.
Well, I got two. My first was Tony and I, we both came in as quarterbacks. And I was watching film of him, and he was from Woodruff. And I thought,
Come on, man.
No.
What's the second story?
My Tony Rice story. We were scrimmaging in the stadium, I think, one time, and Lou and Coach Holtz got on him, and he started yelling at him, and he told him to go down to the practice squad. And Tony is very respectful of everybody, but his frustration just built up. And I'll never forget, Tony just looked at Coach Holtz, didn't say a word. He just took the football that was in his hands and threw it straight up because he was so mad. And I remember Lou going, "Take your ass to the practice squad." And he threw it. And he was just staring at how high the ball went. That, and I remember him calling him Ricky all the time. I thought that was good.
That was hilarious.
Oh, Ricky.
That's a great story. We got to wait for him to tell that story. All right, Daryl. Sorry, I apologize that Pat took your time. Hey, CC.
That's fine. No, I mean,
time there. Go ahead.
Did you say Terrell?
he's the nicest.
That's not changed.
Tony,
That's not changed.
Tony's the nicest guy, right? We've all said it. I mean, it doesn't matter what situation you put him in or what he's doing with you. That kid's always smiling and he'll do whatever you want. I mean, there's not a nicer person in the world than Tony Rice. I mean, I can remember we'd go to, and Tim Grunhart knows this. We used to go to Bowling Green during the winter. We'd go to Bowling Green and we'd hang out with my buddies from high school. And I mean, he'd be, 2 hours away in a little school and everybody would come up and talk to him and he would talk to everybody. He didn't care. He was just the nicest guy.
Mike, how about you? You got one?
Yeah, I got one. So I was at a tailgate. And Ricky and Tony came by it. And so we're outside the stadium and somebody asked Ricky, hey, can you throw the ball? And he's like, how far can you throw? So Ricky's like, I can throw it into the stadium. And so he tries to throw the ball into the stadium. And Tony takes it and throws it, across the stadium almost. Damn, then he just walked away.
Nice.
Sorry, I was there for that one.
Yeah, right? He never said a word.
All right, so Tim, give us a good Lou Holtz story from your experience, Grunhart.
Well, Lou and I had an interesting relationship, that's for sure. But
All of us.
I'll give you a good Lou Holtz story that doesn't have to do with football. So he invited Tom Freeman and Butler out to play Augusta. And I just had knee surgery probably 6 months earlier. But I wanted to walk Augusta. He said, Tim Grunhart, your ass is not going to walk. We're getting you a cart. I'm like, who drives a cart at Augusta, right? Who ever would do that? So I was getting in the cart and I would walk up and the caddy'd run back and he'd get in the cart and he'd drive it up. After a while, Lou was like, Tim Grunhart, I don't want the caddy driving the cart. I want you driving the cart. I don't want the caddy driving the cart. So we get to about 16. And finally he's like, Tim Grunhart. He yelled at me like I was about an 18-year-old. And this is like 10 years ago. And it was like, Lou Holtz. I mean, he just ripped at me. I told you, I don't want the caddy. How stupid can you be? I don't want the caddy driving the cart. I told you I want you to drive the cart. And now I'm going to get the goddamn cart. No, geez. So that's just a Lou Holtz story. And then the one, of course, before the Miami game where he said, leave Jimmy Johnson for me. And we all looked at each other like, Jimmy Johnson is going to kick your ass.
That's brilliant.
Hey, Rod West, how about a Holtz story?
I'll tell you what, the one that comes out to me is the recruiting visit when I was trying to figure out where I was going to go to school, and Lou's doing the magic trick thing, and the whole tearing up the newspaper, the stuff that he gets, at the time he was getting paid a pretty good dollar to do. I'm 17 years old. I'm not impressed, and I think my parents, certainly my little brother, they were all oohing and ahhing, and I'm not feeling it. And he puts the paper down, and all of you have seen the trick before, so you know what I'm talking about. But he puts the paper down. He says, "Son, I'm going to talk to you like the man that you are," and tells my parents, "Forgive me, because I'm going to speak to Rod in the language he'll understand." He said, "Son, you can come to Notre Dame, get a world-class education, and be a part of the turnaround of America's most storied football tradition." And then he paused and got right up in my face and he said, "Or your ass can go somewhere else, watch it happen on television, and regret it for the rest of your blankety-blanking life." I was like, that's what I'm talking about for a football coach.
Let's
That's
go.
what I'm talking about. And he never let us down. 5-6, 84, 12-0, 12-1.
Nice. Tim Ryan, how about you? You got a Holtz story?
Yeah. It was like sophomore year, and I wasn't probably doing real well in school. And so he wants me to come in and visit him, and he wants my dad to come with me. So on a Saturday morning, we head over to the ACC, and I kind of woke up and just threw a hat on and went over there with my dad. We sit down, and clearly I'm in some kind of trouble. And we sit down, and before the meeting starts, my dad says, "I just wanted to let everybody back in Kansas City know I called you Lou." And it was the biggest dud, flop, whatever. And he kind of looks at my dad, and he looks at me, and he's like, "Is this how you're going to show up and present yourself when you're going to meet the boss?" So my dad and I are sitting there kind of like shrinking into the sofa, trying to understand everything that happened. And then, Holtz, what he'll do, he'll kill you, and then he'll come back and kind of build you up and make you kind of feel bad. So we got out of there. And as we're walking out, my dad was like, "That probably wasn't the way to introduce myself, was it?" And that was, that's our greatest Holtz story. Treated us very, very well, my parents especially. So I got nothing but gratitude. I was more afraid of Joe Moore than Lou Holtz.
Oh God, yes.
I didn't really care what.
Tell a Joe Moore story.
Joe Moore's the
Tell a Joe Moore story.
head coach. So, hold on a second, Daryl, do you have a whole story for us?
I do, and
Yeah, I do.
and most of us will. Go ahead, Pat.
Go ahead, Will Decade.
No, go ahead, Pat.
No, go ahead, Daryl.
It's all you, buddy.
Pat's gonna skip a turn. Go ahead, Daryl.
We were in Loftus, and we just got. I don't remember who we just played, but we turned the ball over a couple times. We were fumbling the ball, and Coach Holtz was up on the stage talking about 3 points of pressure. He was holding the football and he was screaming at us, and he asked Bob Dahl to come up on stage and smack the ball and try to knock it out of his hand. And of course, everybody expected Bob to swipe down at it. Bob punched it from underneath, and Lou Holtz fumbled and told Bob to sit his ass back down.
Okay, sit your ass down.
Sit your ass down.
All right, Tom, how about you, man? You got one?
For me, there's not one story in particular. Just the things I remember about Coach Holtz is, obviously he was a great teacher, great motivator, did a really, really good job of getting his team prepared to play on Saturdays. And we knew exactly what we had to do in order to win games. I think that, his vision for our program was phenomenal. I think that, he brought in players from all over the country and did a great job of making us understand that, in order for us to be great and to really, really reach our, true best versions of ourselves, we would have to put the university first in order for us to reach all of our goals as a team. And to be able to get young men from all over the country and make them like-minded and make them see his vision where it became our vision, and then to go out and to execute at the highest level week in and week out consistently. And, we had one of the best teams in the country the whole time he was there at the university. He struggled a little bit early, obviously, when he first took over the program. But, when he had that thing going, that thing was rolling. And Notre Dame football was a juggernaut. And, I think that, Coach Kelly's doing a great job now of getting it back to where it's supposed to be. But when those years under Coach Holtz, that was Notre Dame football at its finest, for sure.
Good one to end on.
Yeah.
How do you top that?
No, hold on, not done yet. DJ got one for us.
Good luck, Jay.
Daylight said it well. The thing about Coach Schultz, he always set the tempo. And you remember, like, when we had the big games, whether it's the kickoff classic or the national championship game, and the coaches always spoke at the banquets. And we always knew we were going to win because the coaches would always say something like, "I'm glad I'm going first because I don't want to have to follow Coach Schultz." Or they would say, "I have to follow that guy." We knew that Coach Schultz already kicked the coach's butt, so we knew we had the advantage, in the game. But the other story was the USC, the year we won the championship, Coach Schultz asked me to come back for a fifth year. And so I was all excited about that. And you guys remember, I didn't stick around in the national championship game. I got kicked out. But in the locker room, he said, all the seniors get game balls, except for DeJuan Francisco. We got to have a talk. It was an embarrassing moment because everybody was out, celebrating everything. But, I had to explain to him what happened and send a letter out. But Coach Holtz, you knew when you did wrong and you accepted it. And he always got us prepared, man. He was always taught us how to, win and be on top of things, man. Because you didn't want to be last. Because if you were 5 minutes late, or if you came in the meeting when he was still coming into the room, you were late, and you did not want to be in that situation.
LLH time.
I just want to piggyback a little bit of what DeJuan was saying. One of the things I remember is that at the same banquet.
Is that the second half of the game?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
You better switch
I
up.
think the offense shows up now.
So when DeJuan was talking about at the bowl games, not only did the coaches say, "Hey, let me go first before Holtz," but I don't know if you guys remember, after Holtz spoke, their players stood up and clapped. That was crazy. All right, Pat. Hey, we're going to end the session on you on a very short Holtz story. Pat Terrell, your turn.
Watch it.
Ain't no Gipper.
I had to go behind
The very end of the play. Watch it. I leg whipped it right.
Oh, Pat froze up. Okay.
He treated me very, very well. And
Oh, Grooney. Grooney.
Oh, Pat.
Leg whip.
Pat, unfreeze yourself.
And I remember I used to like a lot of us used to like
Pat.
Your internet,
I
Pat.
think it was after we signed.
Oh, pass interference.
Pat got 8
You-
kids in
you,
the house on the internet,
He
man.
wanted to make sure that these
Pat got to pay that
Got
bill.
dial-up.
and he said
Hey, Pat,
nobody scratched your shoes. Nobody scratched your shoes except for Todd Light.
All right, Pat, we heard part of your story.
Uh-oh.
Can you give us a super condensed version right quick?
Yeah, he was a great coach, the best coach, and he. I think a true team had a chance to do it all over again. Would you make the same decision? And I think everybody on the screen would say yes. And the tools that he gave us when we were 18 to 21 years old, we all still use them throughout life. He's a great man, and he taught us how to be winners. And I appreciate everything he did.
Hey, Rod, how about this one? How about end with, I love all you mugs.
Absolutely.
There you go.
Bubba Dog, Dean Brown, number
Dean
71,
Brown.
man.
Each and every one of you.
Dean
bro.
Brown.
Canton
Guys,
McKinley.
hey, I want to thank you guys very much. I know we kind of had a rough beginning, but this was awesome having a chance to hang out with you guys again. You guys can hang out for the next session, but I will not call on you, or I will mute your microphone. But you can hang out. Just don't be loud like Ned.
All-time captain.
Juan Francisco, Pat Carroll, not you, Ned, Tim Ryan, Todd, Daryl Wadecki. Thank you guys very much, and I love all you bugs.
Love you guys. Man.
Love you guys.
Go Irish.
Take care, man.
You Irish.
Later.
All right, so we're going to transition a little bit. I'm going to let some other folks in the room. We got a couple of guys coming in right now. I think that might be everybody, right?
Yep.
Hold on, let me see these faces.
What up?
Bobby Beck, Donnie Grimm.
What's up, Cole?
In the house.
Hey, what's happening?
We got Rick.
Rahad,
Hello.
Tebow. What's happening, man?
Coley, look
Chris,
at
do I really have to
skinny.
leave?
Eddie B.
You don't have to
Hey,
leave, just be
what's
quiet.
up, fellas?
Right.
T. Rice, my man. What's up, homie?
Ah,
guys
Tony.
What's up, Colo?
Still Florida.
Good, man.
What's up, fellas?
Rice. How's everybody?
Reg, I see
Rahad
you.
West, what's up?
Fellas, what's happening? I see
AJ.
Ramadan. I see Ramadan.
I see Devon. DJ.
What's up, Dewan?
Doing it.
Come Juan, baby.
Twice. All right, Rockets will score.
What's up, Bokart?
What up, AJ?
Where's AJ at? I don't see AJ.
See Rice.
What's up, AJ? How you
Awesome,
doing,
man.
brother?
Y'all,
Pat Eilers, what's up, man?
We're good.
Edge.
Score. We're gonna score.
Oh, you old guys. I'm the young buck around
Second
here.
I
one.
think you are. Hey, Reggie. I think you are.
Oh, Anthony Johnson. Bam.
what?
Good.
You said spent $10,000 for 2 yards. Anybody ever in football, I say Anthony Johnson. 2 yards.
Hey,
AJ.
Money man.
Don't say hi.
Money
How you doing,
man.
man?
He'll get you 2 yards.
Anthony Johnson.
Donnie Grimm, what's up, man? Oh, T. Rice, I see you.
What's happening?
I see you.
All right, I'm gonna have a couple introductions here. So first, we're gonna have Reggie Brooks, running back from Tulsa.
Yeah, why you keep saying my name, man? T-Town, baby.
Huh? Somebody have okay. I'm sorry. Pat Island, wide receiver from St. Paul, Minnesota. I get Ishmael, wide receiver, running back from Wilkes-Barre, PA. Anthony Johnson, running back from good old South Bend.
He just scored. AJ just scored.
Oh, there we go.
He did. That's
Hey, how
right.
about that? All right. We got Tony Rice from Woodruff, South Carolina.
Yeah.
Boltar from Phillipsburg. Yep,
New
Phillipsburg,
Jersey.
Ron Grimm from Southmoreland, PA. Scott Kolakowski for Lake Orion, Michigan. Devon McDonald from Patterson, New Jersey, via Jamaica. Gentlemen, thank you and welcome.
Thank you, Chris. Happy to be here.
doing this, man.
All right, someone you can go down the list. Reggie, give us your most memorable Orange Bowl story. Reggie, you have to get off mute.
Yeah, my most memorable moment was the fact that I got into the game because Coach Oates, you know, how he'll like grab somebody and throw them in the game. It was like late in the game. He didn't know he'd put me in there, and I got to run like 3 or 4 plays before he figured out. He said, "Get your damn, who put his ass in there? Get his damn." I was like, "Hey, I got the game." And then Benny Serrato had the cell phone waiting for me to talk to a recruit on the sideline when I got back. You know, how he'll like grab somebody and throw them in the game. It was like late in the game. He didn't know he'd put me in there.
All right, so can somebody turn down their the radio a little bit? Or
Get some feedback.
I'm getting a little feedback.
Not me.
All right, thank you.
I don't have no idea.
Pat Island.
cell phone.
Hey, Pat.
What's up, Z?
There you go. Pat, give us your most memorable Orange Bowl story.
Most memorable Orange Bowl story would be how, if everybody remembers, the week before practice, we were all practicing who would carry who off the field. And if we won, and we were all scared to death that no one would carry any of the coaches off the field.
I like that one. Rocket. Up off mute. There you go. Most memorable Orange Bowl story.
Oh man, a bunch of them. I remember getting robbed by the housekeeping committee.
What was that? What happened?
Remember we had, they gave us like per diem or something like that. And there was a little market that all the guys went to. I bought some cool stuff and I was ready to take it back home, talk to my mom. That was one. And then the other one was in O.J. Simpson conned one of the news sports information directors to let them get me to do an interview with them. And I remember my phone rang and I picked it up. And on the other end, it was O.J. Simpson. He was like this. He's like, "Hey, Rocket man, it's the juice, baby. Come on, man. These folks want me to interview you, man." And then it'll be lickety split. What you think? I was like, I gave into that juice peer pressure. Next thing you know, I'm talking to him live on camera. Those are my most memorable moments outside of the game.
Nice.
Wow.
AJ, Anthony Johnson, tell us one of your most memorable Orange Bowl stories outside of you just scoring a couple minutes ago.
Just real quickly, PT just had a missed tackle on kickoff. He didn't
Oh.
Here we go. Here we go. We're starting already.
Nice shot, DJ.
Anthony, go ahead. Tell us one of your most memorable Orange Bowl stories.
Yeah, so for me, and something's going on with the video. I don't know. I'm hearing this like 3 or 4 times, but
Right. So somebody, can somebody check what they're listening to?
Like their cell phone.
We're hearing our conversation.
Shot, DJ. Oh!
It sounds like somebody has Facebook on while we're doing it.
that was one of my most memorable times, even though it was like 2 seconds and for like, just kind of fell across the end zone. But, scoring was just exciting. I mean, I had one later on. But what I remember most about the game, was
it sounds like somebody has Facebook on while we're doing it.
Yeah, what I remember most about the game was just being excited about playing. My last game, I was just really hyped up, enjoying the whole time. I just remember just being excited about really every play out there. And so just kind of the way the whole thing unfolded and just having a part in it, that was just what I just enjoyed the whole time.
Nice. Okay. All right. Tony.
Yeah.
Hopefully this is not. We have to hear your story first. But can somebody turn down, I think, their phone at Facebook or something? Okay, now it's not happening. It's great. Whoever did what, it's perfect. All right, Tony, give us your most memorable Orange Bowl story.
Shoot. I think it goes back to Anthony Johnson. You need a first down, and here you're counting on the money man to make it, because Anthony always guarantee you 2 yards. So with every 2.5 yards you make, you get a first down. So that is still embedded in my head. Anthony's one of those unique people that you meet in longer life, because I became close with Anthony doing most of the time, like I'm not from South, I'm from South Carolina, but then you gravitate to Anthony. And Anthony was one of the people that point me in the right direction as far as what I'm trying to do on the football field. So with that being said, it's like, I love to give him the football and see what he can do with it. And he did a lot of things with it doing that. And during that game, it came to a point that you can't make anything happening and passing. What can Anthony make things running? So, I look at Rocket, I look at, Pat Eilers, I look at our defense, and Donnie Graham. I tell you what, love the hell out of you. He ride motorcycles too, like us. So you better be part of the group. I love the camaraderie that we had back then. It brings back to, we don't care about what's going on right now, but we'll never forget what happened during the 90s season. And we had a chance to repeat what we almost did at that time.
Yeah, and so Tony, man, I really appreciate the togetherness that we had, the combination that we got close, especially those first 2 years before I got married and whatnot. I loved how you would get 9.5 yards and you just give me the ball for the last half to get the first down, man, or the touchdown. Man, I just really appreciate that, man.
Chris, here's the greatest moment of the Orange Bowl. Tony Rice, one of the greatest option quarterback ever. Anthony Johnson, I would give to him over 1,000 guys for 2 yards. I love all the guys that play with us. But remember against Miami, we backed down. They charged the field before the game. We backed down for the first time in 4 years under Coach Holtz. Then we go to Orange Bowl. The night before the game, Coach Hall says, I take the chains off of you. The school is pressing down on us. Sports Illustrated pressing down on us. If they want to fight, we'll fight them in the parking lot. We'll fight them in the locker room. It doesn't matter.
Yes, I remember that.
Colorado runs across the field. Where do we meet them? In midfield. And that was the difference in that goddamn game. It wasn't the game, is the fact that we stood up to them. The Miami game a month before we backed down. We let them push us around because everybody was upset about Sports Illustrated, the school, and Coach Holtz, the night before a game, said no more. And we all got chills up our spine. We all got fired up. And we walked out of the field that night, and Colorado came across the field. We all ran and said, screw you. That was the beginning. That's the greatest memory of that game for me. If it's not for you, God bless you.
Yeah.
That's the greatest memory.
I like it. Thank you, Ned, for pushing
Shut
through us. I
the
appreciate
hell
that.
down that moment, and then we kicked their ass afterwards. With
All right, amen. Thank you, Ned. Thank you, Ned.
That's why we have to-
Donnie, I don't know. Donnie, you're gonna have to back that up. I don't know if you can.
Good luck. Good luck.
Well, my favorite not favorite, my biggest memory from the Orange Bowl was, we finished the last game of the regular season right at Thanksgiving. And the time between Thanksgiving and the bowl game, we had about probably 2.5, 3 weeks of practice, which felt like about 6 months of training camp. And I'll never forget, it was like December 15th. We're in the last practice. We're going live team, ones. And we run the last play of the practice. And they say, line up, run it again. And on the run again, I get rolled up in the line and turn an ankle.
Oh.
And I spend the next 15 days before the Orange Bowl rehab and trying to get ready for the game. And I heard DJ mention earlier he had some stellar training room treatment to get him in proper condition to play. And I think I was right there with DJ. And all worked out well, and it was a good 4 quarters. But T. Rice, love you, man. Appreciate the comments. Tony and I were in Dillon Hall together, and for 3 years, because Tony's a year older than me. But lots of stories there.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome.
Hey, Chris, before you say anything, Donnie took me to his hometown.
I was going to tell that story.
Go ahead. Go ahead and say it, please.
Hold on. Donnie, hold on.
Tony, you are welcome to every town of America. Here's the question, Chris. You asked me.
Donnie, I'll get back to you about that. Scott, share with us a memorable moment in the Orange Bowl.
Well, I echo your statements about the lead up to it, because we practiced harder getting ready for a bowl game 2 weeks before. And I remember going against AJ, ones against ones, man, cut blocking live, and it was on, man. But he made everybody. I just remember those practices leading up to all those bowl games, man. That was tough. You guys know it too, right? But it made us better when we got to the game. And I just remember the game coming out, and we were all fired up and nasty. And I got to a little fisticuffs and almost got pitched on one of the goal lines. That's my memorable moment. And the ref told me, he says, you can't do that. You can't do that. I said, we'll throw you out of the game. I said, what are you talking about? Anyway, rest is history. It was great. Great experience. I love you guys, man. It was awesome. Just awesome.
Devon, give us a memorable experience for you from the Orange Bowl.
Yeah, so mine is off the field. Me and Rodney went on an excursion. And, today I don't consume alcohol, but back then I would take a few down, And so we went on one of them boats, on Everglades trip, which is amazing. That's where he passed away, right? So we're on the Everglades, man. So and plus I had them cigarette that smell kind of funny,
Damn.
So I got all that in my system, man. And so we out there so I don't see no alligator. I'm like, if we out here to see alligators, why don't I see alligator? Then we finally see something. So I said, okay, they just laying up there. Why they not come in the water? He said, something got to be in the water.
You jump in.
So I pushed my hand in the water and started to shake it.
No.
Man, I didn't know alligators were so quick, man. They were like, I said, okay, I'm ready to go back. All right.
Wow. Touchdown, Rocket.
Yeah, so that
nice. I'm
yeah,
sorry.
but,
I'm
but
sorry,
it's
Rod.
good memories because
My bad.
my last full time with my man Rod like that.
Oh, yeah. I remember walking across campus, and you were the biggest, nastiest looking dude on campus. You were flipping something I thought was a comb and his switchblade. Sorry. And you said, I grew up in Patterson, New Jersey. Now, I'm from New Jersey. I know Patterson. You said, toughest place ever. I said, dude, you're the nastiest looking guy in South Bend. And you try to be a preacher in Indianapolis, one of the greatest guys ever that graduated from University of Notre Dame. And you're a wonderful example of somebody who comes from the toughest place in New Jersey to be very successful. I love it.
God, man. Right, Rocket?
Right. Love you,
All
brother.
right.
I love you.
Turn
Hey,
it around, man.
Let's celebrate this touchdown here, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
What?
Great, right?
Who scored?
Wait, I'm not
Oh,
watching
now, you
it.
remember this one, right?
what?
Oh, Rocket. Oh, nice move. Nice move, Rocket.
Rocket scored.
How about a shout out for
There goes
Rodney
Reggie Brooks.
Coleman?
You got a nice block, Reggie. I saw you.
That's all speed.
Reggie.
Blocking is
Like it's all speed. What the hell are you talking about?
Hey,
a
John.
little bit of blocking.
Why
Hey,
are you
we're-
receiving on a 3-point stand, though, man?
Were we the only team in America that had wide receivers in a 3-point stance? What
That's a
the heck?
good point. That's a good point. Post
The
that.
midshipman.
Hi, the midshipman.
Hey, Donnie. Hey, Grim.
What?
I think you're right about that. Oh, shit.
Tell us about Rocket. Tell us about that play, and also tell us about having to line up in the 3-point stance.
Hey, Pat Eilers, you did the same thing too.
I just remember when I was little that I used to see Fred Biletnikoff line up in a 3-point stance. But then after that, it seemed like the receiver position was all. But then when I came to Notre Dame, it kind of, we took some steps back as that is concerned, taking a receiver stance. Yo, blocks all around this baby, son. Okay, that's the first thing. But the second thing I want to say is, I know God is real because of Anthony Johnson and Devon McDonald. I came on my recruiting visit in 1988, 87. And I just remember T. Rice and Dean Brown took me to a party and we walked in. I'm telling you, it was a table and it was a bunch of cats playing. They were playing spades and they had some fire water up on that mug. And when I came into the room, AJ, this is definitely before his transformation. AJ was sitting there and he looked like our eyes caught each other and he looked at me like he was Beelzebub himself. And he would, like, the way he looked at me, I was so like intimidated and afraid. Like I was like, yo, I hope this guy Dean Brown is gonna help me if this dude try to jump on me. And so that was my first experience. That was my friendship with AJ. And AJ, every time I see him, I'm like, man, I know God is real because when I saw you first time, you were an agent of Satan, son. I know you were. You were absolutely, because you were about to kill me. The second thing was Debo. When Devon first came on campus in the summer for the training camp, we had the room with each other. And he comes in and he's carrying a trunk, a foot locker. He carries it, he puts it down on the ground, and I'm sitting there on my bed like, hey man, how you doing? Nice to meet you, blah, blah. Man, he looked at me, he said, hey man, anybody steal from me? I stop him. I'm like, hello to you, bro. No, don't you. Anyway,
Hey, Patterson do that to you, man. Hey, Patterson will do that to you. Kill or be killed, you know.
I'm telling you, I was terrified of those cats, and I'm just so glad that they love me now, and that all of the bad intention, all the bad blood, don't even exist. And I also want to say to Pat Eilers, how come he still looks like it's 1989? what kind of therapy is he on? You gotta share the recs without, you gotta share the information, bruh. I'm up here looking like Black Santa Claus, son. You gotta help me out.
I roomed with Pat on the road. I can't.
I think it's hydrochloroquine, man. It's hydrochloroquine.
Hey, Devon. Hey,
Chris.
Devon.
Yeah.
Like, Ned and I see each other a lot.
All the time.
Oh, my God. I tell you what. And it's so fun because we have some of the functions we did. Well, we do.
Great functions.
Oh, yeah. For the Patrick Pals and everything that it goes out. And Ned and I see each other. And we just sit there and bust out laughing because I don't have to say a word. And he knows what I'm thinking about. And he knows when we start talking about it because we get in that little group and people will come interrupt us, but we still start off where we all started, Notre Dame.
Yes.
Notre Dame has been a big impact for all of us. Notre Dame has done a lot for all of us. And we've done a lot for Notre Dame as well.
We all chose Notre Dame for 40 years of relationships. On this Zoom, and the Zoom before is about relationships. What we did on the field on the game we're watching right now. Oh, I missed the tackle. I suck. But it's all about friendship. And one of the greatest things you said, Chris, you asked the question before. Tony Rice is the biggest change master. When I watch videos, I say, who are the two greatest players I watched in our era was Rocket Ishmael and Tony Rice. What they did is unbelievable. But with Tony, socially, he came into our team. He bonded the players together. Black, white players didn't matter. None of us thought that mattered. But he did. He was like, he was completely against he hung out with everybody. And Tony made the biggest difference. I'm going to tell you. That's the biggest thing Tony Rice did. Besides his ability to play his quarterback, we got wonderful, great players. Tony Rice was just a regular freaking guy. And that's what made the difference, man.
Thank you, brother.
He's the biggest change. And Rocket Ishmael's the greatest talent we ever had. We had much.
I love watching Rocket run. I still love it. I reminisce. I was like, wow, hey, I pitched the ball to Rocket. Let him go. And they say, hey, coach, carry out the fake. I stopped carrying the fake because Rocket ran so fast and like there was no one can catch him. So, with that being said, I know, Chris, this is your show. I want to leave it over to Chris.
No, this is our show, man. It's our show.
Chris was the baddest dude we knew. Chris, you were the baddest dude.
Hold on 1 second. Hold on. You actually got a new guy that just came through.
Is that Derek Brown?
Derek Brown.
D. Brown, what's up?
DB.
Where
you at? Oh, man.
I need a haircut.
I hit Derek Brown. I thought you break my back.
What's going on?
He's a stud.
Derek
So
Brown,
actually,
baby.
Derek, I went around. I asked everybody what their memorable moment was at the Orange Bowl. Can you share that with us?
Memorable moment at the Orange Bowl.
For you, yeah.
On or off the field?
Oh, okay. This involves Rocket. All right. So everybody know, I'm from Florida, and my boys, Lance Jenkins, who was a trainer at the time, and Harry, his nickname is Harry, but Jeff Harrow. Well, I'm not sure if this was the first or second year we went to the Orange Bowl, but you remember
first year.
Luke Skywalker Coming Home Jam concert that we went to, Rock. And we were on stage with Two Live Crew, and backstage and on the bus with Two Live Crew, and we had to get back for curfew. And I think Ricky was with us too.
Oh.
It was Lance.
I already know you're late when you said Ricky.
Ricky, me. I'm not sure it was somebody else in the car, and it was like raining a little bit. and he took that exit turn a little fast. I mean, it wasn't bad, but he slid that corner, man. Because Rubbin's racing and so is sliding, right? You got to slide around the racetrack. So, but we made it back for curfew. But that was one of my favorite times, is being backstage at a Two Live Crew concert in Miami.
That's a nice opportunity. Did anybody else know about that?
No.
All right, well, first of all, hey, I remember when I went down to Merritt Island, right?
Oh.
I went with Jared, and I spent it was a summertime. We went down.
A couple of weeks, like a week or 2 weeks, something like that.
Oh, that was so damn much fun.
Yes, it was. We believe that.
All right, let's
That's my first time down to Florida.
Chris, you got wrapped this back in, Chris.
This is
Hold on. I got one more story. It wasn't necessarily the Orange Bowl, but I do tell this story as one of my freshman year. So here it is. We win a national championship. I don't know what I'm doing right. I was fortunate enough to start right my freshman year, and I remember a certain quarterback took me underneath his wing. And literally, hear those stories like when you're a pro, right? Yeah, you get kidnapped by people. Tony kidnapped me that whole second semester. Because I remember we'd be like, look, man, I go, Tony, man, I gotta study I got a sociology class or philosophy test. I got an exam, man, I gotta study. Here, take my car, go study for 2 hours, come meet us at Barnaby's. I say no to that. I'm driving a Honda Prelude. I'm with the man and the number one guy, right? Quarterback in the country, right? I'm the best team. And he tells me,
Professor Rice,
you got no, take my car, go study. You come back here, I'll see you at Barnaby's. And, I remember, those Pepsi Colas we would drink out of the pitcher with straws.
Wow. So for those of you folks on Facebook Live who might not know, Barnaby's is a local pizza joint that was in South Bend. So apparently they had a nice time there.
Hey, Chris.
Yes.
Hey, Chris, real quick, man. So I make pizza and I cut it in squares. My daughter like, why you do that? I said, Barnaby's.
Oh, are you serious? That's awesome.
Yep, I cut them in squares, man. She's like, why you do that? Hey, best pizza I ever had. That's,
That is awesome.
Devo, man, good to see you, man. You remember when we took ballet that one summer at summer school?
Hey, man, don't tell everything, man. You know what I'm saying? Certain things
I'm not telling everything, man.
wrap, man.
No, we took ballet, man. I'm gonna tell you right now. Devon would tell you, that was the hardest thing, one of the hardest things I've ever done, is take ballet, man. I'm gonna tell you right now.
When you
ballet is
guys
not
did that,
easy,
yeah,
bro.
I remember when you guys did that.
Where did you guys, were you at St. Mary's? Or where did you guys take it?
What's that?
Did you take it at St. Mary's, or where'd you take it?
It was like in town somewhere. It was only like once a week or twice a week for like a couple weeks. But the stretching and stuff, man, it was hot in there. And then they had us that pegboard on the board where you try to do a split.
Wait, you guys wore leotards, right?
No. And we didn't do a show either. It was just all like workout stuff. It was workout stuff, man. And remember those? The stuff was
that
hard.
lady was tough, man.
The stuff was hard to do. I couldn't do it.
How did you guys get interested in that?
The veteran move was taking ballet at St. Mary's, like Brandon Wells and I did.
I've done that one. I'm in that class too.
Me too. I raised my hand too.
Hey, Tony, can I tell that story when you took me to the first party, you and Dean that night at the on my recruiting weekend?
Go for it. Yeah.
Hey, Chris, this is it's PG. I'm gonna keep it PG.
Thank you.
So yo, we roll up to this party and it's like people everywhere. So we get out and Tony got the fresh Prelude. So everybody's like, oh, then they see us T Rice, and then it's like, ooh, and then we're in the party and like everybody's like they're giving me props because I'm with him. So about 3 hours later, T Rice like, guys, time to roll. And so like all these people come to watch us leave, and about 90% of them are girls. And I remember Tony comes over to me and he says, "Watch this." And so I'm like, oh snap, it's about to go down. All of a sudden, Tony announces to all the women, and I'm telling you, it was it might have been about 25 of them, I'm gonna say 25, 15 to 25, somewhere in there. Tony says, "If I remember every one of your names, we get the kiss." And I'm not talking about just a pick on the cheek, man. This cat is literally, they all line up. And it's the winter time. We're outside. All of them line up. And T. Rice goes, "Vanessa." Dawn.
No way.
Megan. Joe. The whole line, son.
What?
Remembered all of their names, and they were just jumping on, tongue kissing, and then we got in the car. I was like, bruh, that is a hard act to follow. I don't know how you do it, but you are on a whole nother level as my idol. I'm coming to Notre Dame.
But that was back in the day. I'm older now. I forget what I did yesterday. I'm sorry. I'm older now.
Bruh.
All right, hey, let's
Yeah, I think everybody just wanted to kiss Tony.
Whoa, oh, there you go. There you go. See?
Oh, AJ. No.
I think that's so.
No.
All right, so let's talk about some Holt stories. Scott, give us a Holt story that
Good luck.
Say it again. I missed it. I couldn't hear you.
give us a Holt story.
Oh, geez. Spring football. We were doing 3-on-3s, with the drills that you can't do anymore. And you got a lineman, or a blocker, a defender, a blocker, defender, 3-on-3, right? And then a running back.
The Nutcracker.
Right. So we're doing that. You got a guy like Rocket or AJ back there or Reggie, carrying the ball, and it's like they got a two-way go on you, man. It's impossible, So I just remember I was young. I was maybe a sophomore or something, and said, you do it right, and I got burned. He's like, "Hell no, sucker, your ass can't play. That's bull, blah, 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 blah." I'm like, oh man, it's over, right? So then, you get through a couple rotations, you go in, and I make a play. It's like, "Hell, Barry, his ass has got to play, son." That's it. It was like from the penthouse, from the crap house to the penthouse, to the back and forth. And I always remember that story because, it just shows you how much impact he had on you and on the game. And, I still see Coach a little bit. I saw him down last summer and a half ago. I was down at Lake Nona and I had some clients and I was playing golf there. And he was so gracious and came over and spent time with me and my clients and whatnot. And it was just wonderful. Hadn't missed a beat and treated my guys really well. So I think of that story often. And I think of all the stories with you guys. I think of specifically, I have nightmares going against AJ. So, but AJ, I will say you made me a much better player. I'll tell you that. So thank you. Thank you. And Derek, I haven't
seen for your ankle and knee pain, man.
That's all right.
Busting your shins.
We'll get over it. Yeah, we'll get over it. It's all good. It's all good. Anyway, I'm happy. So that's my whole story.
All right, Reggie, how about you? You got a whole story for us, Reggie?
Well, I got a couple, but they're not all great. So, Red Man.
Well, I would say the biggest one is, like I said, how Coach Holtz would, in the off season, he would go and speak at the speaking circuit. Well, for some reason, our senior year, he decides to, come. We go to everybody have a roommate the night before the game. And, he would come around to everybody's room and, want to talk to you for like 10 or 15 minutes. I don't know why the hell I didn't want to talk to him. I didn't want him in my room. We had a deal where for me and Lee Beckton, we'd always room together. And before every game, we'd have a 40 apiece. And I don't know. It was just every game we'd have a 40. And we're sitting there, and he comes by, knocks on the door, comes in. And I forgot who the head manager was because he would lead them around everybody's room. And
Like green.
like I said, we got about 5-10 minutes to get out the room, go back to what we're doing. For some reason, he wanted to just kind of like hang out, and I'm like, dude, what is he? You can't like tell him to leave, but I could not wait for this man to get out of the room. And I was like, and he just terrified me, man. I still get like nightmares thinking about some of the stuff he's yelling at us about and kick you out of practice every time. But he was trying to be more approachable. It was the worst thing ever. I said, I don't like approachable Coach Holtz. I like getting your ass, Coach Holtz. I feel better about that versus him trying to be my friend. I was like, nah, we don't do that. I don't like that.
I got, speaking of the getting your ass, I got this one story. Rocket, you hadn't been there, I think. It was, you maybe not though. It was, Devon was definitely there. When we were there, like maybe junior year, and as everybody knows, Pat, right, all receivers know how to block on the perimeter, right? That's one thing you do is block on the perimeter if you're going to come to Notre Dame.
That's why
Tony
you
Smith.
3-point stance.
That's right. That 3-point stance. This particular day in practice, though, T. Smith wasn't getting it done on the perimeter. So he had Tony Smith come play guard for like 3 or 4 plays live. He's like, coach him up. He goes, the line is busting their ass, doing this and the other for you. Whenever you want to catch the ball, you want to see what they got to go through. Switched him how to play guard for like 3 or 4 plays live. Little skinny ass Tony, man. I would never forget that, man. I was like, man, y'all better get that. Remember that, Rock? Were you there?
No, I remember one spring, and I was like on I think I was on like academic probation or something, and so I didn't have to practice all of the practices, and it was going to be a scrimmage. And so I had just got finished doing a study hall or whatever I was supposed to do, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna watch the scrimmage. So I had on my floppy hat, some flip flops, some shorts, and I went to sit in the stands, and I'm lounging just like, okay, I'm gonna watch my boys scrimmage. Coach Holtz comes out of the tunnel and he sees me in the stands. He was like, son, what the hell are you doing? Lollygag, get your ass in the lock, put your equipment right now. And it was, he sent me in the locker room. I had to put on, and I'm like, Coach, I'm not even supposed to be out here. What is that? He's like, don't you talk. And I went in the locker room, put all my equipment on. I came back out like totally mortified. And he was like, no, get your ass in. And he put me against the first team defense with the second team blocking. And I was like, and he put me at tailback. And he was like, your ass is going to get the ball. And I was like, Lord Jesus, if I please help me now. And thank God I was able to run to the sideline and get out of bounds on like 7 of the 8 plays I was in. But that was like a shock to the system. Coach Holt was not playing. Needless to say, I learned my lesson. If I'm not supposed to be anywhere near, I will not come.
Hey, Rocket, you can run faster than anyone out there. What the hell? Hey, listen, second, third, first, whatever. I'm like, okay.
Chris Zorich knows Chris Zorich knows all about that though. We're not going to talk about that scrimmage in front of all those coaches at one time with Rocket. He would just come to practice every now and then. This is the only person that I've ever seen do a play like this. You guys that were there, remember this, where it was like an off tackle, left or right, like it was between the tackles. Rocket came through the hole. He jumped up. He spun halfway around. As soon as he hit, boom, he spun back the other way. And then he hit the left sideline for like a 60-yard touchdown.
Matrix.
Yeah, that was you, Zorich. You come on now.
He did the Matrix.
That I remember.
He did the Matrix. That's what he did.
It was
right.
But Zorro, though, tell the truth though. How did he jump? Boom, boom. Like we all looked at us like, did we just see that? Like, boom, boom, gone.
No. I remember when I was playing defense, playing DB, I would try to go and D rock it up one-on-one. Dude, I've never seen someone be able to step backwards like 2 steps and then step aside and then gone. Never bump and running because he was back.
And everybody, you got to understand, Richie Brooks a 4-3 guy.
First instinct is to back away, and then you can't touch him, and you look around, he's gone down the field.
Hey, does anybody remember this? At whatever hotel we stayed
You see that ball card tackle. I just gotta point that out.
Does anybody remember that little lake, the boat, no speed, little water jets, whatever they gave us to ride on in the back in the hotel? Anybody remember that?
Hawaii, was that in Hawaii?
No. When we were at the
Miami?
Orange Bowl, it was either it had to be the Orange Bowl. For keeping it.
Only you got that right. Nobody else got the right besides
Hilton.
you.
I remember I thought Jerome Bettis got beheaded right in front of me.
Yes, that's after us.
That was the second game. That was 91.
Oh, that was 91? Okay. All right, then my memory.
It's not this game.
That's okay. That's okay. Hold on. So, Pat, give us the whole story.
Whole story. Where do you start? I'm trying to think which one to pick.
Well, first of all, Pat, what trophy you got up there right now? I see like a little cup there.
Yeah.
What is that?
I love Coach Holt's. I love Coach Holt's trophy.
How about
I love you, Pat. I love Coach Holtz too, but
I just saw it.
come on, man.
How about this story? So Coach had told me, because I couldn't make a mistake because I didn't have Rocket or anybody's on the
You sucked. You were for Yale.
talent. So
I liked you.
So we're playing.
No one hated you, Pat.
We're playing Navy.
We hated you, Pat.
For Rocket, because that's what I did, and I got called for a clip. Coach pulled me out of the game, and in the locker room he said, "You got to come see me on Monday morning." So I go in, and everybody's been in his office. You guys all recall he had that little chair that sat in front of his desk. And the chair was cut off at the legs, right? So you would always sit down, even though you would always be looking up at him. and he
always
said,
stood.
He said,
I always stood up.
He said, "Bet your son, your ass. I don't know what to do with your ass. We can't afford to have you make mistakes." And I said, "Coach, I'll go to the scout squad. I'll do my best the rest of my career." He didn't know kind of what to say. He said, "If there was somebody else I could put in the game, I would put his ass in the game. Until then, he don't clip." And that was it, because he cut him off at the knees and telling him I would serve the rest of my days on the scout squad. So,
Hey, Chris. It's like this. I sit and listen to everything that's going on. I tell you, it brings back a lot of great memories. And that's something that they can never take away from us. As far as you guys sharing everything that we did together.
As a team.
And as a damn team, it's just like, it brings back chills. And I think about, because sometimes we lose focus on what's going on in life. Sure. And what Coach Host always said to us, what we learn on the field, we take it to the real world. Because when you put this together, out of all the people that is on here tonight, that is great. That's a great feat, because we all getting older, we have a family, we all have certain obligations that we have to do. But for you to do this right here, thank you.
You know what? You got different generations too, man.
Take me at the end. We're not done yet. AJ, give me a whole story. Anthony Johnson, Lou Holt story.
Well, I'm going to kind of follow on Tony's heels there, because I'm similar to Tony in that I feel like I forget a lot of stuff, but I enjoy reliving it as you guys bring it up. And it's like, man, and I remember it like it was yesterday, particularly hearing you guys talk about it. And I think of Lou kind of the way I think Reggie you thought of him. He was just the authority, and so for me, like I kept him up there, and it was safer for me to keep him up there. So a lot of the stuff, you know, I was like, I want to get away from that because I want to just stay in good graces with him. But the thing I'll never forget actually happened a year and a half ago at our reunion up there at the Michigan game. And he got us, many of you guys on the call here were there, and others like Timmy and Wes and you know, guys from even prior to the national championship year. And I really appreciate it. We were at the restaurant there in the back at Parisi's, and he, you know, he's talking about, you know, kind of the old days, and I never forget what he said, because I resonate with this, particularly now being old and having kids who are adults now and grandkids and all that. He said, you know, I would do the same thing. I would just do it a different way, in turn talking about how he related to us as his players, and kind of more treating us more like kids as opposed to, you know, like his, I don't know, his employees or something like that, and not, or his dogs or worse. But that really sticks with me. I'll never forget that, because I always believed maybe he cared about us, and I could tell he did. You know, you think he did, and you realize when you graduate that, yeah, he did care about us, and we learned a lot. But when he said that, I really, particularly now being older, I was like, yeah, man, that I understand. I hear his heart, and it really communicated to me. So
He would have let us fight Miami down in the Orange Bowl that same
We
year.
should have. And
You
Derek,
would've let
to your
us do
point, to your point, Derek. Okay, let me speak for a second. If we would have fought against Miami on the field, when they ran across the field, we may have had a better chance. Also, Jeff Allen played, and this guy played, and this guy played. Maybe we had a better chance. But Lou caved in. I love Lou. We all do, Coach Holtz. They caved into the pressure of the school, the whatever.
Well, you know what though? We kind of put that pressure on, because I look at the screen right now and I think what was so cool, and I know we've all talked about it from time to time, but it was a special time, and I'm sorry, but Notre Dame will never ever have the guys like this there.
Well,
I'm sorry.
we chose to go to Notre Dame because we love Notre Dame. Every guy on the screen, every guy before us on the screen, we chose to go to Notre Dame because we love Notre Dame, not because we were promised anything. We love Notre Dame.
Right.
The guys before Coach Holtz, the guys after Coach Holtz. I love Coach Holtz for the lessons he taught all of us.
Yeah.
Guess what?
Cool, the old
We're
school,
all
the new school.
successful men.
Donnie, I'm gonna move over to you. You got a story, Donnie?
The whole story, yeah. I remember my freshman year. I think it was the second or third practice. You're on campus. You're new. You're a freshman. You're trying to fit in, make some friends. You think you're pretty good until you get to campus, and then you realize everybody's probably as good or better than you are. And we're doing kickoff return. And I was on the kickoff return team, and we were doing this goofy, which I still couldn't do today if I practiced 1,000 times, doing this cross field block, and I missed the block. And for some reason, when Coach Holtz blew the whistle, it sounded different than when all the other coaches blew the whistle. And I hear that whistle, and I just remember he comes running across the field with that towel wrapped around his neck. It's like 95 degrees, and he's got a sweatsuit on. And he says, "Donnie Graham, if that's the best you can do, son, you need to take your ass back to Pennsylvania. You're never going to play here." And I remember calling my parents that night, and I said, he hates me. I said, "I'm never going to play a down here. I made a mistake." And obviously it all worked out well. And, you know, the other Coach Holtz thing was, and I know we all had it happen, where he pulls up in the golf cart next to you and he says, "Son, come for a ride with me." And it's about a minute to 2 minute golf cart ride, which seems like an eternity. And you don't talk, you just listen, and you can't wait to get back on the field. But I will say this, there isn't a day that goes by in my life that I don't remember all the things that he taught us and how he made us better men and better people. And he always made us think, at least in my mind, we weren't that good of a football team and we weren't very good players. But somehow on Saturday, we played pretty damn good and beat a lot of teams by a lot of points. But I think about him every day, and you know, he's taught me as much in life as anybody.
Yeah, no.
And Donnie, I agree.
Hold on a second.
Wait.
You give us the whole story.
Me? Okay.
Yeah,
So I think my sophomore year, I'd hurt my knee, got surgery, and it was swelling up. So before every game, basically, they would drain my knee. So one day after practice, I think it was like Friday, I wanted to drain it, give it, that night to get reacclimated. So I'm in there, and so Lou Holtz comes, and he's looking at me, and I'm kind of like, I don't want it done, you know what I'm saying? So it's more that than anything else. But so he's thinking I'm afraid to get a needle. He's like, come on, toughen up, son, toughen up. So, so they take out like 6 cc's or whatever. Anyway, so they took it out. So Jim Russ walked by him. When I'm about to leave out, he said, stick around. So I stuck around, and Lou Holtz, something was wrong with his finger. I mean, Jim Russ didn't even touch his finger. He's like, no.
That's the best.
That's awesome.
That's great.
It would be tough, and I mean, literally making him touch his finger, man. So, so that's my little Lou Holtz. But like everybody's saying, man, what he has meant for me, coming to my high school in Patterson, New Jersey, getting a Jamaican boy who don't know the game of football, only knew how to do one thing: hit as hard as I can,
and stab people. Wanted to stab people.
Just play hard.
And wanted to stab people.
Very stab people. hey guys.
I'll stab you, man. I'll stab you.
Okay, well, I got one more story. So we were playing Purdue in my freshman year, and Derek Brown playing, Rocket playing, a lot of people playing. And I never forget, man, I've never seen a man ran that fast in his life. He sprinted, and he got it. Did you play? I said, no. He said, good, because I want you to play for a 5th year. And I mean, just to have that vision of, man, I needed that 5 years to be developed, you know what I'm saying? So I'm definitely thankful,
awesome.
man.
Hey, Chris, can I say one thing real fast? And I'm looking at it and I'm thinking about it. It's like, well, where am I at right now? I'm in Miami. I live in Miami right now. So
we're all jealous.
Jealous.
I'm a very fortunate person in a way, but again, people still bring up that, either Orange Bowl or the reunion against Notre Dame in Miami. And I never say nothing. And I always ask, it was a great game. But who ended up winning that year? And they never say the quarterback, because Steve Walsh was the quarterback at the damn time.
Yeah.
The main quarterback is that. And I let everything be, because I want to be in the shadow of every damn thing, even though Notre Dame is our school. It's our school that the people are on right now, that people are listening, looking at, the game. That's our school. And I bleed blue and gold. And I'm so fortunate enough to even, say, one of the things that I'm very proud of, that I'm a part of Notre Dame. And we can all say that right now, that we're part of Notre Dame history. We're part of Notre Dame that when people should remember the game, they don't know some of the players, but they remember that damn team. And I'm so proud of each and every one of you guys that are on here right now, because we don't really have that freaking unity as we all come together as one. And again, it goes back to Chris, putting everything together. And I'm not trying to be a sob story and like that, but you guys deserve applause. It's like, the clap, because Here we are together. He put it together, and here we are together until we meet again. And we will.
The show's not over yet, Tony. The show's not over yet. Come on.
Yeah, but I'm going to, because you almost played my bedtime.
Give us a couple. You got a half an hour left.
Bedtime.
Half an hour.
The greatest thing about Tony Rice,
Put on your big
thing about Tony Rice. And here's what I say about Notre Dame: the change between Jerry Faust and Lou Holtz when they brought Tony Rice in. Tony Rice brought a relationship between offensive linemen, running backs, white, blacks, didn't matter. Not that I ever thought Notre Dame was white and black when I went there, but Tony Rice broke down every barrier. That's why I say Tony Rice is one of the greatest ambassadors for Notre Dame ever. You know why? All of us are wonderful people. Tony Rice broke down barriers like we couldn't break down. He did it because it was natural, his natural freaking personality. I remember going to Barnaby's, to all these places we go to in South Bend, and Tony could be hanging out with Mike Brennan and Tom Rader, go down the list, all the guys, Tim Grunhard, and hang out with all the brothers. He broke down barriers that we did not even know that existed.
I got a question for you guys. Like, what I think the biggest reason why it just worked for us, like I said before, I'm looking here, I see old generation with us punk new school kids that came into Notre Dame, right? Right? The Troy Ridleys of the world and stuff like that, that big chip we have on our shoulders and stuff. But it's the one thing that I think, most great teams probably have is we make the coaches' jobs easy. Not that it's easy at first, but when you get to a part when you're policing, the team kind of policed itself.
Yeah.
All they had to do was coach. But it's amazing. How did we get there? How did we get there to where we had the bar was here? Literally, we were like, hey, if you don't do this is how
we
do
had
it.
young guys come in with great talent. We had older guys with good talent. I'll say great, good talent.
Yeah.
I remember, I tell you a story this day, Derek. I hit you in spring practice as a 4th, 5th year senior. I remember hitting you 6'7", 245-pound freshman tight end. And I dropped to my knees, but I tackled you. I said, oh my God, this kid's a stud. But
I got to mute it. Come on, man.
Freshman, but not just me. It went across the board to guys who you respected, who worked every day, from Chris, Anthony Johnson, Don Grimm, to all the young guys that came in. There's respect.
Here's the difference. I didn't like blocking you. I didn't like blocking Donnie. I didn't like blocking Colo. Colo had those big ass arms and super, strong as crap. And I ain't going near Zorro. So
the common theme is everybody made everybody better. That's the common theme. Is everybody made everybody better. It was a competitive situation. You had all kind of alpha males, and that's the only way you get better. And that's how championships are made. Is you go out and kick ass, and that's exactly what happened. It was on in practice. It was on in practice. It was fun. I don't regret 1 second.
Between
all those guys.
Oh, hold on. Remember I sent the memo out. We're not supposed to talk over each other.
I'm sorry.
So the difference between coming in when
Ned,
I
that was
came
for
in.
You, Ned, remember you saw it.
Chris,
everybody.
Here for Colo's younger than me. Everybody on this page is younger than me. The difference for coming in 1985 versus 86, 87 is the veteran guys welcomed in the young guys. We wanted to teach. We embraced. You talk to anybody from the class of 1985, you have very few guys before you who embraced you and wanted to make you better. The difference is we won a lot of games with pre-Coach Holtz players, post-Coach Holtz players, great players. The difference is we learn to accept and embrace the new players every year. And I got to tell you, my freshman year, most guys who were before us did not embrace us.
Hmm.
They treat us like shit. I know I don't supposed to say it. I'm gonna say it. Like
Okay, good. Thank you very much for closing down our
extra, but Chris,
Thanks,
we
thanks.
treat you and everybody else like gold.
Hey,
What's
Z,
up, Rob?
hey,
Man, thank you.
hey,
So,
Z, one quick thing.
Hey, that's my bedtime, Chris.
Pat, go ahead.
Preacher, AJ, throw it up for Jeff Ulm, Rodney Culver, Bob Satterfield, all the boys at Dean
Dean
Brown.
Brown,
Andre
Boys
Jones,
Andre
that are watching
Jones,
on the screen
Burko.
here that aren't with us.
Braxton Banks,
Jason,
Steve
Justin
Banks.
Hall,
Demetrius DeBose, Ted Healy,
Debo, yep,
Burko.
Justin
Mirko,
Hall,
Debo.
Got Joe and
Big
Fazio.
And
Good
that's the
Williams.
scary thing, guys, is that
Sean
as we
Davis.
get older, the only
Preacher,
time we're seeing each
Preacher
other
Johnson.
is,
Over to Preacher Johnson.
I'm sorry, who?
Preacher Johnson, AJ.
What? What are you asking?
Throw it up for all the guys, AJ.
Oh, a prayer.
Oh, this prayer.
Little prayer for
The
all
guys aren't with
that
us
aren't
anymore.
We're
Okay.
watching on the screen.
All right, we can do that. Father God, I just thank you for life you give. I thank you for just your love for each one of us, for the ways that you have demonstrated yourself in us, to us, and through us, and particularly in all the ones that were named, Lord, that were part of this family and this team that you gave us the privilege to be a part of at Notre Dame. And Lord, I know that their memories live on, and that the ways that you uniquely connected and communicated yourself through them live on through, in some cases, their children, but Lord, also in the way that they touched other people, including each one of us on this call. So I thank you for the way you've done that, Lord. And thank you that you love them, and that through that love for them, you've demonstrated your love for us, and that pray that you would help us to communicate that to others. So yeah, man, really thank you for this opportunity. In Christ's name, amen.
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 Hey,
All right.
AJ.
Thank you, AJ. That was great, man.
Hey, Chris.
We're going to wrap it up in a little bit, but I just want to kind of get some small stories from you guys. Scott, I'd like to go to you first. Give us a folks listening to Facebook Live, kind of a memory that's maybe a non-football, non-athletic memory that you have about Notre Dame.
Oh boy. I just remember when I every time I come back to school and driving in and to see the change, from when I was a recruit, first coming there, I knew nothing about the University of Notre Dame when I was recruited. I lived in Michigan and everything was Michigan, et cetera. And my father played at Virginia a long time ago. So it was either one or the other. And I just remember every time now when I come back to school, which isn't that often, but I'll come back for a game or two. And I just remember I flash back to my first time going to get dropped off at camp, and room with Timmy Ryan, and my mom and dad drove down with me, and we were Flanner or Grace Hall. Well, I can't, the towers now, what the heck, they're administrative buildings now, I think. But, there's so many, right? T, right? So anyway, I just remember every time I go back down to school, whether I'm with my family or by myself, I have that feeling again, the first time I was going down to campus. And it's a cool feeling for me, and that I cherish. I cherish a lot, and I try and express that to my family and stuff. And it's a wonderful feeling because it is such a life-changing experience when you go there and you get to be around incredible people. And I think that's the most important thing. And the most important thing for me in the takeaway is the people that were there at the time we were there, and what that means moving forward. So that's my off the field memory. I had a wonderful experience, and it was just awesome. And I think about it often.
That's awesome. Thank you, Scott. Reggie, how about you? Now, we know you've worked there for like 90 years, but you have a lot of memories, but kind of give us one from your time as a student athlete that's non-athletic related.
For me,
Very dear like Lou Holtz.
No, for me, it's just I just remember how, and again, it's somewhat negative to a degree, but I remember how I felt like I can't play here. I'm not going to play here. I want to go home. I was homesick. This is my sophomore year. And again, I'm behind, Anthony Johnson, my brother, Ricky Waters, Rodney Culver, Rocket, Jerome comes in. I'm like, Dorsey Levens was there at the time. It's like, there's no way I'm gonna see the field. And I remember calling home and, my dad picked up the phone. This is like I said, when you had long distance calls, so you had to make it real quick. And I told him like, I'm coming home. I just can't take it here. And he's like, did you sign that letter of intent? And I was like, yes, sir. He's like, you need to figure it out. Click. And but that was a pivotal moment for me because the one thing that it helped me to change my perspective and how I approach Notre Dame. And the thing that really resonates with me is the friendships I've developed. A lot of my memories are about the guys I played with and not so much on the field. And just even to this day, and T. Rice was really touched on it, and it still resonates for me this day. My worst visit of all my official visits, Notre Dame was the worst visit I had in terms of fun. But the thing that always stands out to me were the people that I encountered and the people that I met. I remember, like I said, my brother was my host, and he literally picked up his per diem, and I didn't see his ass again until I was the end of my visit. And y'all know T. Brooks, so so I'm walking around campus trying to get to my meetings of where I'm supposed to go, where my host was supposed to take me, and it was somebody on the grounds crew. I was asking where a building was. This guy didn't know me from Adam, had no vested interest in my success there at all, but he made a point of getting me where I needed to be so I wouldn't be late for my meeting. And that always stuck with me, the importance of caring about others. And that was something that resonated with me at Notre Dame, that people cared about me, not because of me playing a sport, it's just genuine about me as a person. And that's something that's always stuck with me. And that's one of the reasons I do what I do, is because someone did it for me.
Reggie, thanks. And, not that you guys have been paying attention, but they actually finished the game. So having a blast here, kind of hanging out and talking about it. If we can quickly, I want to get to everybody before we get off. Tony, give me a non-football story that you remember about Notre Dame.
Well, since being in hostile territory down here in Miami, it's just more about the camaraderie. And I look at it more of, I bleed blue and gold, and I stated this before, but I never forget the people who helped me across the bridge. When I say that, it goes to who helped me to get to where I'm at right now in life. Because what Coach Host taught us on the football field carries in the real world. What you learn on the football field, you're going to carry into the real world of everything else. And for me to go ahead and say and put it to the chase or to the matter of it, it has. My college friends, I will never forget. They're my college friends for life. And my college friends, yeah, I remember my high school friends, I remember, but not more like my college friends. Because I'll tell you one thing, I can tell you a lot of things about you, attributes about you that you did in order to make me to be the best person I can on and off the football field. Because me going down to Merritt Island to stay with Derek, fun as hell. Me going to Don Graham to Pennsylvania, fun as hell. For me, Anthony Johnson, they're right there. And I learned a lot from you guys because I'm in a different territory. I'm from the South. And not the far South, but it's like South Carolina, South Kakalaki. And we speak a different language. For me to translate and to be the person, like, listen, expand your horizon, make things everything you wanted to be. and learn from other people. You guys taught me a lot of things. My main job is to carry out orders that Coach Oates gave me on the football field. But you don't realize how much impact you guys have been on me as a person. So I want to thank you again. And again, we all speak different languages, different tongues, whatever. But that's me. Because at the end of the day,
thanks, man. Pat.
Thank you, man, for interrupting me. Thank you.
I thought you were done.
No, it's okay, but you can thank me.
I thought you were done. Go ahead, Tony. Go ahead.
I still love you.
Hey, I thought you were trying to get to bed.
Okay. Can I get off right now and then go to bed?
Oh, you got other teammates. You just gave this great team speech, and now you want to leave. You can't leave yet.
I would never leave you. I would never leave.
Islands, you're up. Non-football story.
Not football story. No, the best thing Notre Dame gave me, I think we all have a bit of, religion in our lives. And whenever I'd see that dome, I'd say Hail Mary. And Mary brought me my wife, Jana. And I've had 3 daughters now graduate as recently as Sunday. So Elizabeth, Catherine, and Claire have been able to, have the experience that we all enjoyed down there and just the great community. Honestly, I don't think there's a better group of people, and I don't think there was a better group of teammates than that we had, anywhere on the face of the earth. So,
all right, I like it. Rocket, give us a non-athletic story that you remember from Notre Dame.
I remember, I think it was my junior, sophomore year, but I remember I got a call right before practice from one of my little brothers on campus, and when his parents passed away. And I just remember sitting in, I was Rusty, Tony Smith, maybe Reggie or Tony Brooks, one of y'all was in there. And I just remember picking up the phone, and I just hear this gut-wrenching, sorrowful cry. And I just remember he's like, man, I couldn't hear what he said. He just said something and then died. And I just dropped the phone, and I remember running from Grace Hall. I think he was in alumni or one of those doors. I just remember running all the way across and ended up staying there with him and calling my mom and having her speak with him and just helping him get everything. And like it just totally blew my mind that I'm supposed to be at practice right now. And so I'm like, oh my God, I'm supposed to be at practice. So it's about 6 hours later. And I remember running over there and practice just got finished. And Coach Holtz had like this really like perplexed, concerned look on his face. And when I told him what happened, it was like, I could see the humanity just like all of a sudden come on his face. And wow. He was so concerned and so like, hey, whatever we can do to help. And I just started crying. And I just remember I was on his cart and he was just like, I love you, son. It's going to be okay. Whatever you need to do to help your friend and to comfort their family. If there's anything I can do, let me know. And it was like, that was so, I thought I was going to get in trouble and I thought it was going to be like just this big deal, but Coach, like love just poured out of him. And it just let me know that, man, love is the most powerful in anybody's life. Love is the most powerful spirit, the most powerful principle that we can embrace. And when it's directed towards you or directed towards somebody that you love, and you can feel it. Like I felt it at that moment, and I was just forever thankful for that. And that being said, I want to say thank you to Pat just for remembering our brothers who fell, and I also want to remember Sean Davis, Devo and I, and Reggie were at
yeah.
I remember when I was in Los Angeles, Kenny Spears died. And then, just recently, Boo Williams, he passed away also. So I just want to say thank you for Pat, man, for remembering our brothers, man, and showing love by bringing Anthony to lift up a prayer on all our behalf. And just when Anthony was praying, it just reminded me of when I felt like just love just like come my way. And Coach Holtz was the person that brought it forth. So, man, I love all you guys. And I just want to say thank you for being you. And, man, I look up to you guys, man. And I cherish all of the times. I can tell a story about each and every one of you. But that's what I remember, Chris. And, man, just thanks for doing this, bro. Thanks for leading us, brother.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That was great, Rocket. Thanks, man. Donnie, give us a non-athletic story that was memorable in your tenure at the game.
Gosh, how do I follow Rocket?
Somebody had to.
Easy.
Way
You're
behind.
a lot slower, Donnie. It's easy.
You know, what sticks with me non-football related about Notre Dame is when I was going to Notre Dame as a freshman recruit, all I heard about was these athletic dorms. And all the players lived together and they were catered to. And I thought, gosh, that would be awesome. And Notre Dame doesn't do it like that. And that sticks with me so much. I lived in Dillon Hall with Tony, and got to shout out to Dillon Hall.
Yeah.
And, we spend enough time together. Not like today's rules on how many hours you can spend together. We probably spent 7 hours a day together between lifting and meetings and practice and training table. And to be able to go back to the dorm and they integrate you with the student body, and it humbles you because they're so smart, they're so committed religiously, and they really bring you down to earth, and you become part of the student body. And that fabric's what makes Notre Dame, and that's what sticks with me off the football field, because I think that's one of the best things they do there, and I wouldn't ever want them to change that.
Nice.
It's like John.
Derek, give us
Honey Grimm. It's nice.
a non-athletic story that you remember.
Let me see. I think it hits on the whole what you guys already spoke about just the brotherhood, where I think what it embodies, like a perfect example, right? So one of my recruits was Irv Smith. And the fact that Irv was actually, and he told me this actually like last summer, and it was like, bro, you never knew this, but I love you. And he's like, Holtz brought me in his office and he goes, look, D Brown, look, I was getting ready to go to, I think he was going to go to Florida State or Alabama. He was already going to go. And they didn't want him to take this trip. But last second, he ended up going to come to Notre Dame for a trip, and he was my host. And, Holtz brought me how he does, brings you into the office. He told Herb, he's like, Herb, we got a great, we got a pretty good tight end in Derek Brown. You're not going to play. You're not going to start for 3 years. This is how it is. But Irv told me it didn't matter, because what he saw was how we just were together, like the love we have for each other. I mean, when you think about it, I mean, if one of us got in trouble, it was going to be all of us, because I don't think there was ever really a time. I mean, you correct me if I'm wrong, but how often did you guys walk around by yourselves or with one other person? You had a posse with you. It was with 4, 3, 4, 5, 6 guys. In the dining hall, there's 18 of us, 15 of us sitting together, right? Some people might not have liked it, but we had that, like on our national championship rings, man, love, trust, and commitment. We all had that commitment, and we all had that trust. And that's what I think was special. It was just a really cool mix of group of guys from all different backgrounds, all different walks of life, different areas, that just came together. Stars were aligned, and it was amazing. Like a couple of days ago, I just watched the national championship game. I actually had taped it when they did that broadcast of it. We kicked their ass, top and bottom. But what I was amazed at was all the different people that played in that game. So it wasn't just like starters, man. Everybody contributed to that game. Everybody did. And it was probably, I looked up. I mean, Rod may not think it or know it, man. But Rod, I looked up to you, brother. You were like light years ahead. Even now, I've told stories. I may have told Rocket this stuff. I was like, if there was one thing that I would like Ho said, that I would do different. I would, because you were like an old soul. I would have actually listened to you more and did the things that you have bestowed on us. But as hard-headed kids, we got to learn for ourselves a little bit. But that's the one thing I would do different, man.
That's heavy, brother. Y'all are a blessing to me, that's for sure.
Where did Rod West come from?
Hey, I've been here the whole time, brother. You know how I do.
Good to see you,
All right,
brother.
hey, Devon,
But
give
yeah.
us a non-athletic story that you remember. Devon.
He's frozen. Oh.
All right,
Froze
so
up. All right.
Who?
can you hear me?
Yeah, now we can.
Okay, so mine is from the beginning. My recruiter was Foge Fazio, and Foge brought me on campus. So right was coming up Notre Dame Avenue. I just saw the Golden Dome, and I had this feeling on me, man. I turned to him, I said, "This is where I want to come." And he said, "You just got on campus. Just have a good time this weekend." And I had a good time. I had my man Rod West hanging out with my man Rod.
We kept you straight, Devo. We kept you straight.
Yeah, I know. So then as we were leaving out, as I was leaving out going to the airport, I said, I know this is where I want to come. And I just know, man, that as I look over my life, I turned 50 this year. How providential God has been, man. A little boy from Jamaica, never saw the game growing up, and to play at a university like Notre Dame, and like also to have teammates like this, it's a blessing, man.
Oh my God.
All right, I like that. Okay, we just got a couple more.
Everybody's frozen, it seemed like.
AJ, can you give us a non-athletic story you remember about your time in Notre Dame?
Yeah, I got a couple of them. One is, and I heard Rod talk about it in the first half of the game, but the Keenan review, because I was with Keenan. Rod and I were roommates, and we did our bodybuilding little skit, and that was pretty fun. Had my shorts all hiked up in here, and I was all lathered up with grease and whatnot. I'm like, well, I'm so glad I don't have a picture of it. And if you do, don't come up.
I do have a picture, and it
No,
will remain.
no, nobody heard that.
It will remain in the vault.
So things like that. Because I was kind of a loner in a lot of ways, and so I was doing things like at the North Dining Hall, because Keenan again was my dorm. I remember during the winter, and of course I was from South Bend there. I remember when it snowed and catching people across the quad, hitting them upside the head with a snowball, and hiding, and remember doing things like that. And I remember getting up on the dome. Now, not on top of the dome itself, but I found a way to get up on top of the dome and just kind of enjoy the scenery of, especially at night. That was really cool. So I'll do those things kind of alone, but particularly now, what I look back on and I hold most sacred, really, and precious to me, are what you guys have talked about, and that's the relationships and the connections, and primarily two of you guys on this call right now, Tony first, because he and I connected. Probably did a few things maybe we shouldn't have done early on, first year and a half or so, right?
But we did it. That's okay.
That's just with me and you, right?
Yeah.
But what I appreciated about my relationship with you at that time was it was genuine. You were so genuine anyway, as was talked about, but a genuine love and care And like I say, even though we did some things maybe we shouldn't have done, but we were there together. And then in a different way, Rod, I experienced an intimacy with just kind of brotherly intimacy with Rod that was really special. And both of those, as I look back on them, I realized they carried me through that time in ways that at the time I really wasn't wholly conscious of. But as I look back on them, like, man, those relationships are that's what carried me. And of course, I got married my junior year, and then I was kind of gone. But I really, really treasure the relationships, and particularly being someone who was kind of like to be kind of to themselves in different ways, but was really carried by some good friendship. So that's kind of my.
Hey, Anthony,
Awesome.
when you said that,
Ned, how about you? Give us a story.
When you said that,
Non-athletic story.
Hey,
Me?
I'm
Chris.
sorry? Yes.
Me? So
What?
I got to tell you, I spanned it from 1985 to 1990, right? All you guys on this call, the guys before, the guys who were Jerry Faust last year. When I chose to go to Notre Dame, I think most of you guys think the same way. I believe so. If not initially, but today you do. I want to be involved with the best men, for as cliche as it sounds, the best men 40 years after you go to school. I was 17 years old. I thought I had enough sense to say, I thought some of the best human beings went to Notre Dame. Not only best human beings as students, student athletes. And I want to be part of student athletes like every single guy on this call today, the guys before us in the first half, every fucking teammate
Come on.
I've had.
Ned, come on, man.
I don't care.
This is a grown man. Let's pick his mind.
Come on.
Every single guy that went to Notre Dame, as a student athlete, as a student, they're the people I want to be part of the rest of my life. And as 17 years old, we all made that decision for different reasons. But today, at 53 years old, I say, I made a great decision because all the guys I see on this screen today, earlier in the first half, many other events we've been involved in, the students, the student athletes, they're good people. They're the kind of people I want to be part of. We all made that decision to be part of Notre Dame. And thank God, the fact that we won a lot of gosh darn football games because we had a lot of great players. But you know what? We're part of a special group of people. We are. Just think about that. It's not the small thing. It's the big thing. This is we are a part of a special group of people who want to succeed in life. And I got friends. We all got friends. We grew up with high school, whatever. Guys who went to college, other place, girls. When they meet a Notre Dame student or student athlete, they say, wow, there's some motivated people. There's some successful people who want to, they see the bigger picture of life, and you guys do. And I feel privileged to be a part of not only the University of Notre Dame. It's not perfect. It's not perfect. But man, you guys are perfect. The student athletes I played football in Notre Dame are perfect freaking people, man. You guys are special. You're wonderful human beings. You're unbelievable athletes. I feel privileged to be part of this team. A captain, whatever the hell you want. but part of this team. I look at every single guy on this freaking screen and the guys before and many other webinars we all been on. Beautiful fucking people.
Thank you, Ned. Thank you. Something great. Guys, this has been awesome. You know, we're supposed to be watching the game. You know, the second half was really great. It's really amazing when you get guys together and when you listen. And I mean, I've learned something about each one of you guys that I didn't know. So for me, thank you guys for doing this. It was an amazing time. Of course, we're going to say, hey, do this again. But I promise, maybe not during a game, we might get together and do something like this. Before we
guys, hey, Chris, can I say one thing before you take off?
Yes, but I was into my spiel, but go ahead, Tony.
Oh yeah, you interrupt me. Okay, so anyway, you interrupt me. Hey, we're brothers. Pat Terrell told me to tell you guys he loved you guys, so I want to share that information with you before.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now let me finish my deal, and then we could all go to bed because I know you're getting tired, Tony. Thank you again for putting in my Facebook page for this unique all-access pass with the 1990 Orange Bowl folks. I like the players, my producer, my wife, the Orange Bowl, Notre Dame, and of course, you host. Awesome. I think one of the things, again, that we talked about before, it kind of went through everyone's conversation, was the fact, although this is going to be corny, on the side of our rings, it says trust, love, and commitment. I've seen that here tonight. Guys, thank you so much. And in the words of our lovely Dean Brown, I love all you mugs.
Love you.
Love all you mugs.
All right, brothers. Thanks,
Good to
guys.
see you, man.
Everybody.
Take
care. Thanks again.
Yeah. Thank you. Love you.
Hey, Jay, love you, man. Be good.
See ya.
Let's holler, man.
All right, man. No doubt.
Hi, guys.